They posted it. They let the world know. They wanted this ass one. We go out there 2 lines and welcome them to the yard.
Good evening and welcome to Aviator Field here in Brooklyn, New York. Tom Scavetta bringing coverage of tonight's National Public Safety Football League matchup featuring New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest. The two teams last met in 2019, where the Boldest came out on top 15-12. FDNY looks for revenge tonight as they're coming off a 14-6 victory last week on Saturday against the DC Generals. For Corrections, tonight marks their first game of the 2021 campaign after finishing 3-1 2 years ago. I'm now joined alongside my broadcast partner for tonight's game, John Heffernan. John, it's great to be back. How are you?
Tom, I'm doing great. Who's better than us? Beautiful night out here in Brooklyn, New York at Aviator Field here at the Aviator Sports Complex. It's funny, right down the road you got the Rockaways, a lot of firemen, a lot of cops, a lot of correction guys live in the area. So kind of a home game for both teams. Tom, you talked about last week the season opener for FDNY. It was a struggle for them offensively. They came out with the win, couple of touchdowns defensively. No points put up by the offense at all. That's got to be changed here tonight. As far as this matchup against Corrections, they've got a big quarterback that we got to keep our eye on tonight. I'm really excited to see him play, Damir Djukanovic, number 12. What do you think has to be changed here offensively based on the victory last week, but the offense for FDNY really took a lot of time to get going? Never really created a rhythm.
So for FDNY, I think the biggest thing is finding Corrections' weakness and exploiting it. According to assistant coach Steve Orr, who's also the team vice president and the special teams coach, they have to find that and play with more confidence. The secondary, in particular, we saw safety John Moody, who will be back tonight in red for the fire department, was hyping his teammates up on the sideline before they ended the warm-ups up here at midfield. And it's crazy, John, because despite FDNY winning 2 of the last 3 meetings, New York's Boldest has had FDNY's number. They've won 4 out of the last 6 since 2014, since they've met. So Boldest is no cakewalk. In fact, in 2019, New York's Boldest won that game 15-12, where they forced FDNY to kick 4 field goals in the red zone.
And Coach John Rosati said there's absolutely no way that can happen today. They've got to convert, especially in the red zone. We mentioned earlier Tom Heedles. What do you expect out of him today in terms of making some changes, making things a little bit different to get his offense going? Running backs not utilized that well last week. They never really seemed to get going. What changes does Heedles have to make today, in your opinion?
Well, you have to remember, Heedles is a first-year player, so is his running back, Kadeem Jonas, in the backfield. And there are a couple of veterans on this offense, including Brian Vomero and Eric Ortega, who've been there, done that. They have experienced linemen. I think it takes more time for the offense to gel as compared to the defense, where it's more of reaction. Offense, you have to get things right. Obviously, I think the new offensive system is a good system, according to head coach John Rosati. It's going to be interesting to see how comfortable FDNY is in this scheme, because last week they were obviously not. DC caused a lot of problems for them, but this is a good team all around. I'd expect Heedles to be a lot more comfortable today.
12 practices for the Corrections Department. Again, their season opener. How much of a part will that play in today's game, Tom, as far as this being the opener and FDNY having a game under their belt?
So Corrections was here last week when FDNY played DC, so they do have some film on them, and FDNY, they have some film. Corrections did play one game last year. It was an exhibition game against the Tri-State Shields, where they lost 20-14. So each team has a little bit to scout, but we talked to Corrections quarterback Damir Djukanovic before the game. He was a guy who said this was his first game playing in a Corrections uniform, so FD has nothing on him. And Steve Orr brought it up perfectly. FDNY is going to have to adapt on the fly. Changes are going to have to be made on the spot, and it's definitely not going to be easy for the fire department, especially after their performance against DC last weekend, where, yes, they did have 2 defensive touchdowns via John Ring on the interception and Kevin Allure on the fumble, but DC scored late against them. Tony Tabor was consistent. He found Howard Leslie in the end zone, and it bit them a little bit towards the end, where their defense softened up and DC was able to take advantage. So I think that is concerning, not having that type of tape on a team like Corrections, where they could come in and be pretty bold, no pun intended, early on in this one.
You mentioned Tony Tabor, the quarterback for the DC Generals, a Bobby Bowden product, playing at Florida State University in his college career. Damir Djukanovic, number 12, the aforementioned quarterback for Corrections, a local product, played high school ball at Bayside in Queens. He got a full ride to ASA, the JUCO school, which has produced a litany of Division I big-time college football products from that program.
Right.
Certainly, Djukanovic not without confidence. This guy is cocky. He's big at 6'4", 245. He's got a cannon of an arm, and I'm really excited to see him play, as I mentioned before. And speaking to the Rover for the FDNY, Christian Malera, he is a real positive guy. He said one weakness that he seemed to exploit in Djukanovic is he seems to focus on one receiver and one receiver only. So we'll see how the secondary matches up with the big arm out of Djukanovic. The other thing is that I thought was interesting is Christian Miller didn't really go as far as making a bold prediction, but said, I think we'll win tonight. It's going to be a physical matchup. Expect lots of trash talking. It's a big rivalry. Stakes are high, and I'm excited for kickoff.
Yeah, so am I. And also, I want to say Corrections is extremely excited to get this game in today because they had their first 2 games of the season canceled. They were supposed to play Orlando, and they were supposed to play Philadelphia, so they have not had a lot of luck getting games in. So the 7th meeting between these 2 teams tonight, and my player to watch for Corrections is Cameron Palmer. He's
you guys go way back. You're pals.
We do. Cameron Palmer is 6'1" from Brooklyn, New York. He plays wide receiver, little DB, and he can also kick as well. He's going to be doing some holding today. Cameron Palmer had the game-winning interception in the last meeting in 2019 against the fire department. He had the game-winning play. On defense, he will play wide receiver today. Could be seen in the secondary at one point. We're not sure. He played at CW Post from 2010 to 2014, so he's a 5-year player. And in 2014, that CW Post team made the NCAA tournament back in 2014. Cameron Palmer led the team with 10 touchdown catches, and fun fact, he had 3 touchdowns in the Northeast 10 championship game that brought CW Post to the NCAA tournament, thanks to Cameron Palmer, who is just an outstanding talent who probably could have played at that Division I level.
You know the official broadcast is underway when Scavetta gets in an early fun fact, and a good one at that. Tom, great point. One other thing I want to mention as far as players to watch, special teams going to be key today.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is going to be a big blowout offensive explosion. I think it's going to be a little tighter. One guy last week, Mike Horowitz, punter and the kicker for the FDNY, had some trouble, some bad snaps from under center. He booted a couple of punts. He's never punted before until this season. Hopefully he can rebound a little bit. He got off a few good ones, but special teams is going to be key today as well. Would you agree?
Exactly, and Horowitz kicked for the first time in 10 years last week. He is a tall guy, about 6 feet, and he struggled a little bit, but protection was also an issue up front. Steve Ord mentioned it. A tight end missed the block on that punt, and we do have the coin toss now at midfield. You can see FDNY Bravest in their red jerseys with the blue trim and the white pants, red helmets, and the Corrections Department, New York's Boldest, in their white jerseys, navy blue pants with the orange trim. See the captains out there for the fire department, number 22, John Moody, number 33, Richie Richards, number 4, Eric Ortega, and number 89, Brian Vomero.
How do you think the playing under the lights is going to affect tonight's game? I know talking to assistant coach for the FDNY, Steve Orr, he said he prefers playing during the day. Also a little chilly here tonight, Tom. Will that have an effect on things?
Absolutely. And it was also, you mentioned Steve Orr prefers to play games during the day, so it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how playing at night will impact the game. And we have the coin toss at midfield, and it looks like, I believe fire department's getting the ball first, but I'm not sure. And the captains at midfield for Corrections, we have number 66, Greg Kolodinsky, Kazmel Minot, and Travis Briggins were out there as well. As at this time, we are going to step aside for a quick break, and when we come back, we will have opening kickoff, folks, here at Aviator Field between New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest on Facebook Live. Welcome back, folks, to Aviator Field here in Brooklyn, New York. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan. John, before kickoff, just want to go over both head coaches for each team, and we'll start with the corrections department and Ryan McGovern.
Ryan McGovern in his 10th season as the head coach, Tom, for the corrections department. He's a civil, does not work for the corrections department. He talked about not being in a position to show favoritism. I kind of like that. The culture really has changed for the corrections department football program, really at the lead of John Chamberlain, who's done quite a bit for this team as well. The spread offense will be in effect, and McGovern is raring to go, and he says his guys are ready. 12 practices, first game. What were your thoughts on McGovern? I know you had an opportunity to speak to him as well.
McGovern in his 5th season, technically 4th.
Oh, I thought it was...
technically 4th because they didn't play last year.
Oh, I got
you. He's excited to get back out there on that 2-year
he's been with
hiatus.
The program 10 years. Sorry,
yep.
5 as head coach.
And then John Rosati in his 9th season mentioned 4 field goals in the red zone won't cut it. Discipline is key. A huge rivalry game that will be intense. And before kickoff here, it is 54 degrees and cloudy skies, 7:03 p.m. Eastern time here in Brooklyn.
So Horowitz getting ready to kick off. Oh no, we got corrections. I'm off to a roaring start here, Tom.
Kicking off, and it's a little onside kick, squibbed attempt that's going to go out of bounds around the 50 for a penalty flag. That was not the best start for John Conklin, the kicker, number 17, which, John, yesterday, the starting kicker for corrections called out, so Conklin forced into duty tonight.
Perhaps part of the reason why he booted that one, maybe not as adept as their original kicker, but regardless, we are underway here at Aviator Field, and the FDNY will get their first series underway. Yep. Tom Heedles under center.
At quarterback for FDNY, number 10, Tom Heedles. In the backfield, number 31, another first-year man in Kadeem Jonas. He has twin receivers to each side. To his left, it's number 19, Darren Payne, and in the slot, number 4, Eric Ortega. To his right, Brian Vimero, number 89, the captain in the slot, and wide right is number 13, Joe Herman. Offensive line left to right, number 77, Craig Wells. 63, Al Garcia checks in at left guard. Chris Sotaro starting at center this week after being a backup last week. At right guard, it's Jarrett Howe, number 59, and rounding out the offensive line, big number 66, Tim McCaffrey.
All-important first series, trying to get this offense going. Last week was a struggle for the FDNY. At least offensively, so it'll be interesting to see here how they match up.
Heedles takes the snap on 1st and 10, and already we have a botched snap. It's going to be either a false start or a snap infraction on Sotaro.
I think corrections may have jumped off.
But
no, that's going to go against FDNY.
And, John, this is an interesting point because last week, Mikal Welch and Jarrett House split time at center. They had issues with the snap. Once they made the change at center, things got better. Tonight, a new center in there for FDNY. It'll back it up to 1st and 15 from exactly midfield. So Jonas split to the left of Heedles, twins to each side. They like to run that four-wide offense, that 4-receiver set with the back. Hand off to Jonas. He is pummeled by a couple of defenders. It looked like number 98, Steve Adams, got in there. Gain of maybe half a yard.
Yeah, size is going to be a big factor today. The defensive line for the corrections department, definitely bigger, weight-wise. Overall, a heavy roster compared to the FDNY.
Yeah, corrections on their defensive line. Number 88, John Cunningham. Number 70, Rodney Anderson. Number 90, Sonetta Gibson. And number 59, Andrew Smith on that D-line. They're big. Corrections runs a 4-2-5 defense, so you see a third rover, linebacker, safety type of player. Heedles throws right to Jonas, crosses midfield, gains about 2 yards, but there is a flag on the field. False start, FDNY.
We talked to the coaches, Tom, this week about limiting penalties and discipline, especially in a game that's got a little bit more of an edge to it, like these two rivals have. And not an ideal way to start this game for FDNY as far as penalties are concerned.
Absolutely not. And folks, just want to remind you all, we do not have a scoreboard again this week, so we're going to do the best we can to keep up with that and keep you updated, give you rough estimates on the timing of this game. But upcoming, it will be third down for the fire department. Folks, thank you all for watching us on Facebook Live, both on FDNY Bravest Facebook page and New York's Boldest as well. We're also streaming on Pug Life Sports Facebook too.
About 3rd and 21.
Yeah. Heedles examines, pump fakes, eludes one defender, runs to his left. He's got a defender chasing him down.
He's got some room.
He's taking off across the 35 and down to the 32, but there is a flag, and the FDNY sideline is wild, but there's a penalty flag.
Did you see that block, Tom? It literally ejected the helmet from number 2 for the New York City Corrections Department, Jerome Stewart, who got absolutely freight trained, and it opened up some room for Heedles. Well, let's see what this call is. It might come back.
Jerome Stewart, one of the 2 starting linebackers, former arena football player, New York City EMT as well.
We got Kevin Card, Raymond Gilliard as the other linebacker, the rover linebacker, and the other starting linebacker. Cornerback Juan Rivera for the Correction Department, Kenyatta Jones, Jermaine Wilson at the 2 safety spots, and cornerback is Andrew Richards. What does it look like down there, Tom?
Looks like it's coming back against FDNY.
Yeah, I mean, that's 3 penalties in the opening series. That just can't happen. I don't know what the call is, but it came right near the area where Heedles was taken down.
Yep.
But it was a nice run.
So it'll back FDNY up to their own 45-yard line. So make that 3rd and about 26 now, to be exact. And we already have a lot of comments in the live stream we'll get to in just a couple of moments. But nevertheless, Heedles with twins to each side. You just went through the rest of the Corrections defensive starters showing that 4-2-5 scheme. Heedles buying his time, calling out orders in the shotgun. Takes the snap, looks left, hesitates, throws. It's caught by Payne, gets across the 40, near the 35, and he's finally pushed out of bounds at the 34. It's going to depend on the spot. He may have gotten there.
I like the second effort there by number 19 for the FDNY. Darren Payne, a 6-footer, 170 pounds at an EMS 16. And that second effort may have gotten him. No, they're a little short, Tom.
They're going to be about a yard short. It'll bring up 4th and about 1. And, John, fun fact, Darren Payne did not have a catch in last week's game.
Well, you know, even though that screen pass by Heedles, his first pass attempt of the game, was brought back, it was good to see him make that completion, kind of get the monkey off his back with the struggles that he had last week. And you can say the same about Payne here. Already, Tom, I see a much more confident offensive unit for FDNY here tonight.
Yeah, they've been on the field for about 3 minutes already. And it was funny because last week we talked about to Coach Rosati, why were Payne and Vomero not involved as much? Well, they were in the game plan. DC, the Generals, just did an outstanding job defending them.
You know, with all the hoopla for this Corrections Department offense, I think that from what I'm seeing here early in the trenches, the O-line for the FDNY is not being pushed around here in the early going, and that's going to continue to be a key.
So 4th down and 1 from Corrections 35. Heedles, twins to each side. Jonas in the backfield with him. Corrections showing a little disguised blitz here, maybe. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Jonas. He'll take it himself, and he is buried. He's not going to get there. Brought down by Sonetta Gibson.
Looked like a busted play on that, perhaps a missed handoff, and it's going to not be enough as FDNY falls short on 4th down.
John, while we have the change of possession, just want to get some comments in the stream. Patrick Cairns, we have the best seats in the house. Love it. Shout out to the Cairns family. We have a couple of comments as well. Somebody's watching from the Bahamas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wish we were there.
And DC will take the field at quarterback for them, number 12, Damir Djukanovic, 6'4", 240 build, his first year with Corrections. He was formerly an NYPD player for 5 years.
A very athletic guy, too.
Takes the snap, throws to his right, bounces, one hops, Cameron Palmer, incomplete. So Djukanovic has a strong arm. He played junior college. You mentioned he zeroes in a lot on receivers sometimes, so that'll be interesting to watch. The experienced quarterback, but first year with Corrections out of Woodhaven, New York.
John Ring was sniffing around there, too, on the underthrown ball by Demir.
Djukanovic takes the snap, hands off to his back. That's Theo Clark. He crosses the 35, gets up to about the 39, brought down by Richie Richards, gain of about 4.
Theo Clark is a north-south downhill runner. And talking to Coach Ryan McGovern, and he is a load, a handful.
So Theo Clark starting in the backfield. The receivers for Corrections, number 13, Michael John. The captain, number 4, Travis Briggins. Another captain, number 9, Casmel Minot. And number 7, my guy, Cameron Palmer. Get to the lineman in just a moment. Another run on the draw taken by Clark, and he is stuffed by Kevin Brockmeyer, number 97.
That was a big play. Once again, the line play huge there, as it was a fumble, and it looks like recovered by FDNY on the big hit right at the line of scrimmage. Looked like it was going to be thrown for a loss, but in fact it's a turnover. First turnover of the game. FDNY football in pretty good field position at about the 40-yard line.
Did not see the ball jarred loose. Brockmeyer, I know, forced the fumble, trying to get a hold as to who recovered it. We'll see if they give out the Halligan.
Tom, did Heedles, was he under center ever, or was he in shotgun the whole game? I don't remember him.
He was not under center once.
I mean, they both stick to the shotgun.
Did you see who recovered that fumble?
I didn't. It was a big mob out there.
Folks, if you see who recovered it in the live stream, let us know. But FDNY back out onto the field. Heedles throws, examines, finds his man, Brian Vomero. And actually, that's Chris Rigoli in the game. Vomero has a first down across Corrections 30.
I'm surprised to see Rigoli in so early. Something must have happened to Heedles on that run. Because from what we understood, Heedles was going to play the whole game today.
1st and 10 from the Corrections 29-yard line.
The good news is Rigoli did play quite a bit in the second half last week against the DC Generals.
Rigoli throws incomplete, little behind his intended target, Joe Herman. That'll bring up second and 10.
Herman had his hands on that ball. To me, that's got to be caught. There was a lot of zip on that throw by Rigoli. I like to see that early.
Folks, appreciate you all tuning in here to the Facebook live stream here tonight. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan. Mid to early stages of the first quarter. No score yet between FDNY and New York Corrections Department.
Spirited start to this game.
Yep, it's the bravest and the boldest. Rigoli takes the snap, looks left, starts running to his right, trying to find the man, throws it, and it's caught by Ortega across the 20, inside the red zone, down to the 17. What a throw, John, on the run.
Ortega, a little guy, but he brought that in before getting knocked out of bounds, and FDNY is moving the football. Did you see anything with Heedles, Tom?
I did not, but Denzel Wilson had that fumble recovery.
Oh, it was Denzel Wilson.
Big number 95,
I'm
Denzel
glad we're
Wilson.
able to give him credit.
So 1st and 10 from around the 16-yard line. Dal Cortivo takes the snap. He gains about 3, wrapped up by number 97, Kevin Card.
Checking into the game for the FDNY on offense is number 11. Got to find out who this is.
Mike Selazitsky in the game.
Mike Selazitsky at receiver.
Selazitsky used to play fullback for FDNY. He's now transitioned into a linebacker special teams type of role. Rigoli takes the snap, throws. Vomero, did he catch that? No.
Incomplete. Rigoli coming out throwing.
John, FDNY coming out strong, although they have not put any points on the board yet.
Big third down coming up for FDNY. They are in the red zone.
FDNY in the red zone, and they are inside the 15 at the 14-yard line. They need to get to about the 6 for a first down. So it's going to be third and about a long 7, short 8.
Unable to convert from the red zone the last time these two teams played. Let's see how they do.
Goalie takes the high snap, dumps it off to Jonas, but it's batted down by big number 98, John Cunningham.
He got his big paw on that one to knock it down. Rigoli at 5'10" is going to have his hands full with big number 88 for Corrections, John Cunningham. Corrections made up of corrections officers, EMTs, civil servants, any civil servant with a badge.
Mike Horowitz on for the field goal, John. Snap is wobbly. Kick is up, and
it's going to be short.
Chipped and blocked. So that's the second week in a row Horowitz has had a field goal try blocked.
And coming up short again in the red zone with no points. But I think some of the positive takeaways is the ability to move the football here with creating some rhythm, throwing the ball for the most part, but mixing it up nicely was Rigoli, who got sprung into action here in the early going in the first quarter.
So the offensive line for Corrections, we do not bring them up yet. Number 66, Greg Kolodinsky, the captain at left guard. Number 74, Renee Green at center. Number 53, Dave Diaz. Right guard, number 75, Vincent Ferreira, and right tackle, number 99, Errol Jeffrey. Jukanovic throws left, incomplete. That pass was intended for Briggins. And John, fun fact about Briggins, he's the only player from the 2011 team.
Interesting.
When they restarted.
So we're looking at second down.
Yeah, second down and 10 for Jukanovic. Takes the snap, looks right, dumps it off to his back Clark. He makes one man misses, but Vozos eventually twists them up, brings them down at around the 24.
Richie Richards in on that tackle as well.
Richie Richards, one of the captains for the defense.
Looking at third down.
Yep.
And about 7.
About midway through the first quarter here, folks, here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn. Jukanovic fires across the field. Intercepted by number 22, John Moody, returning to the lineup.
John Moody, who was going crazy pregame, getting his guys pumped up, and he delivers both on the field and off before the game. Moody with a huge turnover and interception. That's the second turnover of the night for the corrections department, and that's something that they are going to have to fix if it's going to give them any shot here tonight.
You're right. They had the fumble, and now they have the interception. Moody sets FDNY up at the corrections 38-yard line. Remember, FDNY is one game under their belt already, so they do have an advantage there.
Absolutely.
Trips to the left for Rigoli. He underthrows that ball, and a nice job breaking that up.
Tom, that ball by Demir was terribly underthrown.
Yep.
It wasn't even near the receiver, and Moody capitalized on it. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going. I mean, they've had great field position in these last two series. As we get to second down, Rigoli, shotgun set.
Has trips to his left, Vomero, Ortega, and Payne. Jonas in the backfield with them. Herman split out wide right. Rigoli takes the snap, fires, throws. Vomero catches it, tackled immediately by Stewart. Gain of about 5. Vomero struggled to get involved last week, John. It's good to see guys like him and Payne getting some early catches.
Absolutely. Vomero was a busy guy last week, but 2 completions, 2 receptions already for Vomero, and he looks sharp, as does Rigoli.
3rd and 5 from Corrections 33. Rigoli takes the snap, overthrows Vomero. 4th down. Fire department wants a flag, but they won't get it. It was 3rd down. They're in an interesting spot on the field, John. This is probably too long for a Horowitz field goal try. Rigoli and John Rosati, they'll keep the offense on the field.
They are taking chances early.
Folks, remember to share the stream on your Facebook page. Get a lot of people watching here tonight, supporting our first responders. Overthrows Darren
He had
Payne
him, Tom.
on 4th down, and that is the 2nd turnover on downs for FDNY.
Darren Payne had a good 2 or 3 steps on the D back there and was open, just overthrown by Rigoli. So it's going to be a turnover on downs, and the corrections department will take over. We're still in the first quarter, no scoreboard, so we're doing our best to gauge the clock.
FDNY, they run a 3-5-3 defense, going over their starters on the line. Number 97, Kevin Brockmeyer. Number 95, Denzel Wilson. And number 3, Travis Pope. Their linebackers are 42, Kevin Allure. Number 33, the captain, Richie Richards. Number 48, Mike Prokop. We'll get to the rest in a moment. Jokanovic takes the snap. He's looking deep, throws, airmails a pass, and it is intercepted by Christian Malera.
That's my guy. Christian Malera, a huge interception, the 2nd interception of the quarter for FDNY, and their sideline is pumped up.
That's the 3rd turnover for corrections on 3 possessions. This is not the start you want if you're Coach Ryan McGovern.
Clearly a little bit rusty, and that's for sure. Even though they were able to get 12 practices in, Christian Malera, a semi-prediction for the victory pregame, and he is delivering.
Rigoli's still in the game for the fire department. Twins to each side. Jonas in the backfield. They take over around their own 29-yard line. He fires to the right, finds Vomero, gets a few, bounced out of bounds around the 30.
Vomero, yet another reception as they seem to be spreading it around, not going for the big, explosive, long ball down the field.
Yep.
Screens to the right and to the left, and it's working, but they got to turn this drive into some points.
2nd down and 4 for FDNY. Twins to each side. Jonas in the backfield with Rigoli. Waits for the snap, takes it, handoff to Jonas, moves to the left, and he is wrapped up immediately by Andrew Smith. Loss of a yard.
Already 3rd down.
Yeah, now it's going to be 3rd and about 6, close to 7. About 6 yards, 3rd and 6 coming up.
So consistency's got to be key here for FDNY if they try to continue to move the ball down the field. They've got one good pass play and then a setback, a lot of back and forth. So let's see what happens here on 3rd down.
Steve Bell in the game for corrections. Card coming in on the blitz. Rigoli fires, throws, overthrows Vomero again, incomplete.
So that'll bring us to 4th down. And Horowitz will come on to punt for FDNY. Takes care of both the kicking and punting duties.
Yep, Mike Horowitz had a field goal blocked earlier in this game. It was his first time punting last week, and it'll be his 2nd time tonight here in Brooklyn. And back deep for corrections. That looks like it might be Cameron Palmer, trying to see when he turns his jersey around.
Coach John Rosati said Horowitz didn't commit to play until a couple of days before the season opener last week.
Horowitz gets off the boot. It's a wobbly kick. It'll be taken on a bounce. Nope. He's just going to let it bounce. It's going to be downed by the fire department, Ken DeForest. So Horowitz, pretty good job around.
Yeah, not bad.
42-yard punt.
Not bad at all. Better than not bad. That was a good punt.
And, folks, just want to get through the rest of the defensive lineup for the FDNY. The rover safety is number 5, John Ring. The stud safety, number 43, Frank Vozos. The left corner, Lorenzo Claudio back in the lineup after missing last week's game, number 23, as well as number 22, John Moody, one of the defensive captains. He did not play last week either. And then Tim Dollison, number 8, to round out the defensive starters.
Well, Moody's first time into the lineup this season, paying dividends immediately as he came up with a big interception.
Jukanovic takes the snap. He surveys, throws, fires, finds his receiver, John. Nice hit there. Looked like either Claudio or Phipps in there. I know Phipps was a game-time decision, but it looks like he's in there.
That was a good fundamental football tackle, not leading with the head, as targeting has become a hot-button topic and a big penalty. You can be ejected for
second down. Jukanovic throws incomplete, batted at the line by the fire department. That was number 93, Nick Venier.
Jukanovic has looked off here in the early going, and in his defense, it's been a long time since any real game action and game speed. But he was talking a big game before the contest tonight, and he struggled here early.
3rd and 5. Jukanovic throws, bobbled, incomplete, low for his intended target.
You know, it's not like he's not getting enough time to throw the ball either, Tom. His O-line's doing a pretty good job in getting him protection.
Right.
I guess it's just a matter of reps and getting back into the flow.
Now, John, the theme of this game so far, FDNY has controlled it, and you would think they'd be up by a few possessions, but there's no score.
Exactly. They've clearly dominated time of possession, dominated in the turnover department, but have not been able to convert it into any points, the block field goal. But you got to like what you're seeing out of FDNY here in the early going. It's night and day compared to last week.
And this should be Conklin here on to punt. A nice boot. Back deep for the fire department. Looks like Dollison picks it up. Makes one man miss. No. Good tackle by corrections. Number 27, Ricardo Wilby.
Good coverage by corrections. They got down the field in a hurry. And they a little bit of a bobble on that kickoff return, which has backed up the FDNY to about their own 25-yard line.
Yep. Folks, late stages of the first quarter here. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan on the call tonight here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York. Rigoli starts this possession with trips to his left. The pass is complete to his receiver, number 16, Matt Rosati. John, fun fact, Matt Rosati works with Damir Jukanovic at Port Authority Police Department.
Oh, terrific. That is a nice little fun fact.
They're good friends.
So much of this responsibility for these guys as team members is just a juggling act. They're putting in doubles, sometimes making it to practice on little sleep.
Yep.
Families.
This is Vomero down the sideline. He gets the first down, but he is bumped out of bounds, and that'll move the chains.
This also the 20th anniversary of 9/11. We want to make a mention of that. And in talking to Christian Valera before the game, he said one of the reasons he decided to come back today was to honor the fallen heroes 20 years ago this September. And it means quite a bit to pass it along from that generation to this and to the future.
Rigoli fires, finds his man. That's Rosati again for about 8 yards, his second catch of the game.
He's going to be about 2 yards short, Tom, from a first down. But Rigoli moving the ball, very effective on this drive. It'll be second down.
The offense seems to be gelling a lot more here. He'll have trips to the left, Rosati in the slot, along with Ortega. Vomero split out wide left, Herman wide right. See Payne not in there either. Throws, finds Ortega, has blockers in front of him, crosses midfield, runs out of bounds to the 45.
That's a late hit. That's a late hit. That's a late hit.
And a late hit there by, it looks like number 24.
Raymond Gilliard, I thought it was, no?
Either Raymond Gilliard or Steve Murphy, one of them.
That wasn't even close. And we're going to tack on another 15 for a personal foul. Yeah, it's going to be another 15 yards. That is a big penalty.
It's going to move FDNY inside the Corrections 30 to their 28-yard line. And stoppage of play, timeout, Corrections. Or wait. Trying to find out if that's a timeout for Corrections.
It might be the end of the first quarter. No, it looks like a timeout.
All right, folks, so that is the end of the first quarter. A quick reminder that tonight's football game is sponsored by LiveView Solo. Want to give a quick shout out to their marketing manager, Joyce Essing, your #1 bonding cellular service for live streaming events. At the end of one, no score between FDNY and the Corrections Department. We'll be back in just a few moments. You're watching New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest Football here on Facebook Live. Welcome back, folks, to Aviator Field here in Brooklyn, New York. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan, first start of the second quarter action as Payne makes the catch from Rigoli to about the 20-yard line. A gain of about 7 for Payne.
And for those of you just joining us, there was a big penalty that put FDNY in this position as they are getting close to the red zone here at Aviator Field on second down.
2nd and 3, throws, fires, finds Joe Herman, makes a good catch, crosses the first down line, gets to about the 11. And by the way, that last catch was by Rosati, not Payne.
Rosati, good piece of footwork, bringing that ball down quickly and adding on a couple yards after the catch.
Rosati with 3 catches now. Him and Vomero each with 3. So 1st and 10 for the fire department inside the Correction 15-yard line. New York's Boldest here, taking on New York's Bravest tonight. Rigoli throws, fires. It is bopped out of play. Good job by the secondary. Trying to see who was back there.
That was number 35, Kareem Campbell, I believe, who got a piece of that ball thrown by Rigoli. His back was to the ball, too. It was sort of a desperation as he put both hands up and got a piece of it.
Rigoli will come back here on 2nd and 10 with Jonas to his left in the backfield. Trips to the left. That's Rosati, Vomero, and Ortega. Herman split out wide right. Here comes the blitz from Corrections. Rigoli overthrows his man out of the end zone, incomplete.
We're already at third down once again. The red zone woes are continuing. A big third down for FDNY. Last time they were in the red zone, they had a blocked field goal and unable to convert anything into points just yet.
Folks, if you're just joining us now, feel free to comment in the live stream with your thoughts, questions, comments on the game. We'd be happy to get back to them for you, whether it's on FDNY Bravest Facebook page or New York's Boldest Facebook page. Tom Scavetta with John Heffernan. Appreciate you all joining us tonight on the live stream. Really appreciate it.
Vomero been targeted quite a bit here in the first half, but they're going to back this up.
There's going to be a penalty. Might have been trying to figure out what the call was.
Must have been a late penalty because, well, needless to say, it's going to back things up to about the 20.
Looks like might have been offensive pass interference.
27-yard line.
So it's going to be 2nd and long for the fire department. Twins to each side. Rigoli looks left, throws over the middle of the field, incomplete, intended for the coach's son, Matt Rosati.
Just out of the hands of Matt Rosati. It's good to see Matt into the game today. So much about this team is relationships, the camaraderie, and the fraternity that these guys have, and to be able to continue their football careers is just so cool.
John, what's really interesting is Matt Rosati, tall guy, 6'1", wide receiver. When his father, the head coach, Don Rosati, played for the team, he was actually a defensive back from 97 to 02.
And the Rosati family football tradition continues.
3rd and long here from the 28-yard line. Rigoli throws, and it is caught by Ortega, and he has the first down inside the Corrections 5-yard line.
He just zipped that right in there, through a seam, and right into the hands of number 4, Eric Ortega, for the FDNY. Ortega 5'10", and it was a perfectly thrown ball by Rigoli, who has been sharp.
24-yard catch for Eric Ortega. It'll be 1st and goal at the Corrections 4-yard line. Twins to each side. Jonas in the backfield to Rigoli's left. Corrections needs to make a stand here. Rigoli hesitates, runs right, has some room in front of him, and he gets in there for a touchdown. FDNY gets on the scoreboard first.
Chris Rigoli showing his footwork on that one on the scramble. Just getting it inside the cone for the first touchdown of the season for the FDNY. And credit Rigoli for orchestrating one heck of a drive here in the early going of the second quarter to put FDNY up 6-0 as we get ready for the extra point.
And what's really crushed the fire department so far is these penalties. We saw another one that pushed them back, and that big pass to Ortega, and the extra point is good by Horowitz.
Great kick.
FDNY leads 7-0 over Corrections.
So it looks like some of the kinks from the first quarter have been worked out, as that was an impressive drive. Rigoli, some key throws, and it's good to see the hard work pay off for FDNY.
Rigoli is a bit smaller than Heedles, 5'10", 200, as where Heedles is 6 foot 210. So not much of a difference, but he does have a little more wheels than Heedles has.
He looks real confident out there today.
And he seems to be the right fit right now for the fire department. Hope you can get him some confidence and continue, and Heedles as well. You know, you want, because both quarterbacks are going to be used throughout the course of the season.
We don't know. Heedles might be banged up. I haven't seen anything to indicate that in terms of the way he's moving on the sideline, but again, it was a bit of a surprise to see Rigoli get inserted into the game, but it's certainly paying off as the offense has clicked here in the first half at Aviator Field.
Just want to take a moment to point out the National Public Safety Football League charity, Ronald McDonald House Charities. The league has roughly 350 Ronald McDonald houses across the country.
Horowitz back to kick.
Horowitz will kick off, and back deep to return. It's Cameron Palmer for New York's Boldest. Horowitz, the kick. It is a line drive kick fielded by the up man for Corrections, and he is going to be bumped out of bounds around the 32-yard line by Ken DeForest. John, what do the Boldest have to do on this possession to get back into this game?
I honestly think they should be running the ball a little bit more. They've had a little bit of success with their big back in number 28, Theo Clark. Clearly throwing the ball has been a problem for Damir Djukanovic. And with that big offensive line that Corrections has, maybe try to develop a little bit of pounding it up the gut with Clark.
They have that advantage. And there it is, the handoff to Clark, and he is tripped up. Nice hit by the FDNY. Guess who that was? Kevin Allure.
FDNY absolutely swarming on defense. Yeah. Allure with a couple of huge plays last weekend against DC, and he penetrated right away after that snap, and Corrections with a loss of yards on that play will get to second down now.
2nd and 11. Djukanovic throws right, and it is caught by his receiver. And he is close to the first down. That was number 9, Casmel Minot. And actually, I have to check to see if that is a new quarterback in the game, and it is John Conklin in the game for Jukanovic.
Interesting.
So, sorry about that. Jukanovic is not currently in the game.
They're about as far away from us as
it's
could
hard
possibly
to see out
be,
there.
and it's hard to see. Also, these lights aren't they look good, but it's not as bright as I thought I'd be. This being our first call
3rd
under
and
the
6.
lights.
Conklin eludes some pressure, scrambles, takes off. He's going to be tripped up by Richards and Allure. He is about 2 yards shy of the first down, pickup of 4.
So once again, a lot of the same names from last week: Allure, Malera, Ring. Their secondary, Tom, FDNY's is playing really, really well. 4th
down there, the offense is staying on the field, going for it here. Twins to each side for Conklin. Conklin, who is also the team's kicker today. Conklin might have got FD to jump. Let's see. He has a free play. Nope. Play blown dead.
He had him, though.
Offside.
That's going to be against FDNY, it looks like, unless somebody flinched on the O-line. At least 3 guys jumped off sides for FDNY, so we'll see what the call is. It's going to go against FDNY.
That's at least the 5th penalty on FDNY.
And it's going to give Corrections a first down, it looks like.
And got some people watching from Georgia on the live stream for New York's Boldest. Thank you very much for watching. A couple Shaquille Melville fans as well.
Go Dogs.
Yep, defense is looking good for FDNY. Gina Picciano. Hope I'm saying that right. All right, so Conklin has a 1st and 10 from his own 45. Gives the handoff to Clark. He stiff arms one defender, gets away from 2, but not away from the 3rd. Good tackle by Lorenzo Claudio.
A multiple player pursuit. And as Malera was telling me before the game, the rover for the FDNY, they may be undersized. I mean, they've got a couple of these linebackers for the FDNY at 5'8" and 5'9".
Yep.
But they certainly are quick. So what they may lack in height and weight, quickness, as they've been swarming, gang tackling and swarming the pursuit, forcing Clark to the outside. It's been impressive.
All right, so 2nd and long here. Conklin has the pressure, and the ball is loose. It is going to be picked up. No, Vozos couldn't pick it up, and he gets back on it. Fire department ball.
Vozos was so close to corralling that and running it in for 6, but either way, it is FDNY football, and we've got a man down for the corrections department who looks to be shaken up. He's being tended to by the trainers.
And it's Conklin, actually.
It is Conklin. He got absolutely hammered on that while his arm was in motion.
And that was Prokop who forced the fumble, by the way.
You got good eyes, Tom.
Prokop forced it. Vozos recovered. And I spoke with linebackers coach Mike McPartland before the game. He brought up that Mike Prokop is big. He's a big boost of energy. It's his first year starting. He loves his linebacker crew. The linebacker crew is basically 6 clones of each other.
Interchangeable parts. And the other thing,
Rigoli rolls right. Has some room. He's going to take off, and he is decked there by number 24. That is Stephen Murphy. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, just such a physical game, too. That's the other difference I noticed tonight versus last week. A little more run and gun, a little more wide open, and very, very physical tonight.
So Rigoli picked up some good yardage. It's going to be 2nd and about 3 for the fire department inside the correction 25, around there 22. Fires right, throws complete. Joe Herman gets across the 20. I believe he has a first down, and that will move the chains. Inside the red zone now for New York's Bravest.
So we talked about special teams and turnovers before the game.
Yep.
And turnovers certainly one of the big stories here in the first half.
1st and 10.
As another corrections department turnover has put FDNY in great position here.
Jonas takes the handoff, makes one defender miss, and he's going to pile his way Let's see. Into the end zone for a touchdown. Kadeem Jonas puts the fire department on top, 13-0.
Kadeem Jonas.
That's his first career rushing touchdown.
Willing himself into the end zone. There was a little bit of a delay on the official call, but it is a touchdown. And Horowitz setting up for the extra point.
Herrick will hold. Surratt will snap, and the snap is bobbled, and Herrick will just have to fall on it, and the special teams issues continue. So the score remains 13-0 FDNY.
Yeah, bad snap by Sotero. Unable to
Surratt,
get the...
yeah.
Who was it?
Surratt, the long snapper.
Oh, it was the long snapper, Surratt. I apologize. And that will result in a mixed extra point opportunity.
Yep.
So it'll be 13-0 as the offense clicking tonight for the FDNY, and it's good to see.
Well, here's the problem. As poorly as Corrections has played, they have 4 turnovers. That's plagued them a lot. They're only down 13-0. There's still a lot of game left to be played. Both teams have made changes at quarterback, with Rigoli in there for FDNY and Conklin in there for Corrections. So it's going to be interesting to see if these quarterbacks will stick throughout the remainder of the game or if they'll go back to one of their 2 original starters.
Ryan McGovern clearly trying to change things up by making the switch at quarterback for Corrections. And quite honestly, FDNY could have a lot more points on the board this far. And they came up short in the red zone a couple of times.
Fielded by Palmer, dancing around back there, crosses the 35, and he is a big ball of speed. John, I got to tell you, I watched him in college. The kid can move.
That's your man, the utility guy for Corrections, Cameron Palmer.
And what I really like about him was he played at post for 5 years, very experienced guy. He actually started as a defensive back. In 2012, Palmer transitioned from defensive back to wide receiver, where he became an all-Northeast Conference player. He's the reason why he brought CW Post to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 9 years.
Well, the resume is impressive, and I hope Conklin can utilize him a little bit more.
There's the run up the gut for Clark, and he is going to be swarmed by multiple FDNY tacklers.
So my suggestion that Clark get the ball a little bit more hasn't worked for Corrections as he's stuffed yet again.
And it looks like Conklin might be down again, trying to figure out who that player is for Corrections. It looks like Conklin. It is not. It is not, as actually Jukanovic is back out there, number 12. So let's see who the injured player is. It is number 53, their center, David Diaz. NYPD school safety. And this is tough, John, because you'll probably see Sean Brophy come in for him, number 76, one of the utility linemen that they like to use. They're already thin at the offensive line position. They don't have Nerol McCormack today. So it's going to be interesting to see who fills in where and if McGovern juggles his guys around.
Yeah, well, this is definitely not a good sign, as it might be the knee that they're tending to for big number 53.
Yeah. And regardless of who wins or loses today's game, Steve Orr brought up a really good point when we interviewed him the other day on Corrections. Both of these teams really respect each other, and both teams are going to be ready to play, but neither team has that losing mindset. You know, Chris Chamberlain plans on beating FDNY. Troy Roberts plans on beating New York's Boldest. So at the end of the day, though, both of these football clubs, this is just, it's not even really their side job. It's what they do in their spare time, and it's more about what they do helping out the community.
It's so true. And despite the rivalry on the field, there is a very courteous professional relationship between both sides.
Jukanovic with a laser, and it's nearly picked off by Allure, who's been all over the place, John.
Yeah, Allure with a touchdown last week. Moody, Allure, Malera. These are the names we keep hearing, and they are dialed in the secondary for the FDNY here in the first half.
So it's going to be 3rd down for Corrections. They're currently at their 41-yard line. They need to get to the 48, so it's 3rd and 7. Jukanovic throws, fires, complete to Minot, and he is shy by about a yard or two.
You know, Jukanovic, is it me or does he seem to be rushing some of his throws? Because he's had time to throw the football, but he seems to be rushing them just a little bit, although that completion should give him a little more confidence.
Yeah. Well, let's see what he does here on 4th and 2 with a new center in there. Polodinsky has moved into left guard, just to keep you updated, folks. Looks like Renee Green is playing left tackle, so they switched that up. Twins to each side for Jukanovic, who's still waiting play call from McGovern. FDNY sideline shouting orders to the defense. Looks like they're bringing on the pressure, and they are. Jukanovic has to get rid of it quickly. Throws one up there. It's caught by Palmer. He crosses the 10 into the end zone for a touchdown. That's Cameron Palmer from 61 yards out.
Unbelievable. There's the big arm we've heard so much about, and just a gorgeous tight spiral, huge pass play, the biggest pass play of the game. And it is delivered by Damir Jukanovic.
John, Cameron Palmer has so much speed. I told you, this is my player to watch for today's game. I watched him for 3 years at college. This guy knows how to take the top off the defense, and he did it right there.
He had at least 4 steps on who was guarding him on that play. Couldn't see it, but he was wide open, and just a perfectly thrown pass by Damir Jukanovic, the big 6'4", 240-pounder from the PAPD.
And they're going for 2, John.
It's been a slugfest here in Brooklyn.
And he's matched up, it looks like, against Dollison, because he's split far right. Yeah, and they're going to go for 2 because they're having the kicking issue. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But, John, oh, my goodness, what a throw by Jukanovic. You saw the fire department bring in the blitz on that play. I thought he was in trouble. The team has 4 turnovers already. But what a way to make up for it.
Just like that, Corrections
Takes
response.
the snap, throws over the head of his intended target, Minot. 2-point conversion is no good. So the score is FDNY 13, Corrections 6.
Well, as advertised, both of these teams pretty evenly matched, and it's we got a ball game, Tom.
John, you know, I got to bring this up to you. Jukanovic is more of a pocket passer with a strong arm, and I think the reason why the fire department brought the house on, at least on the edge there, they know you brought this up. He likes to single in on one target. He has a little bit of trouble sometimes when he has to progress past his first read, and he didn't have to do that on that play because he trusted the speed of his receiver.
And, you know, I'm sure there's been some dialogue between the receivers and Damir, and the matchups being key because Cameron just blew the doors off of the secondary for the FDNY. Was wide open, and a beautifully thrown ball by Damir Jukanovic. 13-6 here in the second quarter. FDNY with the lead.
Yep.
The Corrections will kick off.
Will be Conklin.
Again, we don't have a clock, so it's hard to tell you how much time is left.
We're definitely approaching halftime. We're not too far out. I'd say about 5-6 minutes max left in the second quarter. Short kick. It's going to be fielded by the fire department.
Good run back.
They get the ball across the 45 to about the 47. And for the FDNY, that was number 85, Lawrence DeSimone, who Coach Rosati actually mentioned is going to get more playing time this week.
Nice run back by DeSimone. It's going to give the FDNY the ball at their 45-yard line. Plenty of time remaining here in the second quarter.
So it'll be Ortega, Payne, Rosati, and Vomero as the receivers for Rigoli, who's still in there. Hands off to Jonas. Takes it to about the 50 for a gain of 5. Tackled by a couple of defenders, including Rodney Anderson, number 70. So
Kevin Card in on that tackle as well for corrections.
Yep. It'll be 2nd and 5. Jonas back in there again in the backfield. Takes the handoff again. Gets across the 45 down to the 43, pickup of 7.
That was a nice hole created for a burst up the middle. It'll be good for the first down.
Yep, that was Anderson again on the stop. And John, you know, FDNY trying to utilize Jonas a little bit in the running game. He did have the touchdown run for them earlier on. They've had success, Rigoli and Jonas, each with a touchdown run in this game.
It certainly have established both the run and the pass here in the first half.
1st and 10. Jonas tripped up again by Anderson, but this time for no gain. That's 3 tackles in a row.
Yeah, that's a big boy right there.
Yep.
Number 70 for the corrections department.
Yep.
Big Rodney Anderson.
Him, John Cunningham, Sonetta Gibson, all big guys. They have the advantage. The fire department as an offensive line, their average weight only clocks in at around 254 pounds.
Anderson, look at that matchup. He is a beast.
Twins to each side for Rigoli. Dal Cortivo in the backfield here. Caught by Rosati inside the 30.
And the coach's son coming up with a big grab and another first down for FDNY. As Rigoli finds Rosati. And he was wide open.
That puts them actually right at the 30-yard line. So, Dal Cortivo in the backfield again. Twins to each side. Rosati in the slot to the right. Vomero on the near side. Dal Cortivo is popped, but Rigoli actually kept it, and he did not get anywhere with it. Lost the yard.
Kevin Card with great penetration. And that's like running into a brick wall with big Kevin Card, number 97, the linebacker for corrections.
FDNY sticking with that spread offense. Jonas will check out here. Dal Cortivo in the backfield again. He saw some action last week. Rigoli takes the snap, looks right, fires, caught by Rosati again, and he is drilled by Jermaine Wilson, the safety out of the NYPD school safety.
Good tackle.
That is the 5th catch for Matt Rosati. That leads all FDNY receivers.
And it's going to be 3rd down.
3rd down. They are at the 25, and this is a weird play here. The snap. Rigoli scrambling, throws, fires, corner of the end zone, intercepted by corrections. Beautiful play by, it looked like Kareem Campbell, number 35. But let's see, it's going to be offside on corrections. The play will not stand.
Yeah, that ball was underthrown.
And that was Kareem Campbell, as I'm seeing on the replay monitor, but somebody jumped.
I think the thinking there with Rigoli was just throw it up and let Campbell come down with it, have it be a dogfight in the corner of the end zone. But it was underthrown, and Campbell never really had.
It's going to be a 5-yard. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty, advancing FDNY to the 20-yard line. So they're in red zone territory here. Jonas back in the game. It's Ortega, Payne to the left, Rosati, Vomero to the right. And Rigoli's gotten into a rhythm. I get maybe he knew he had a free play because the snap came out awkwardly anyway.
How do we have warming up here? Number 17 taking some kicks.
That's
FDNY.
Robinson Aupont.
Okay.
The left-footed kicker. We'll see. Just getting warmed up with the kicking net here in front of us.
So it's going to be third down.
Rigoli, they don't need to get much here. Rigoli finds Vomero, crosses the chains for a first down, and he runs out of bounds. Nice job. He gets to about the 15.
Great play call. Vomero knew exactly where he was, how much he needed for that first, and got the first down, ran out of bounds. And we will have first and goal.
Time's winding down here in the first half. FDNY leads Corrections 13-6. That's New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan here on the call tonight at Aviator Field here in Brooklyn. Rigoli takes the snap, surveys the field, throws, incomplete, batted away nicely by number 22, Kenyatta Jones.
That was being a little close to pass interference, but draped all over him with a good defensive play.
Bring up 2nd and 10. And they're right around the 15-yard line. Timeout, Corrections. See what we got, and that. Trying to see if that's the half. Let's see. No. I believe it's the I want to say it's the 2-minute warning. Again, we don't have a scoreboard, folks, so we're doing the best we can up here from what we can hear and see, observe on the field. It looks like Corrections took a timeout, so it is not halftime yet, but we are approaching halftime, not too far away. Folks, hope you're all enjoying tonight's live stream here on the Facebook page of both New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest. We're happy to bring this coverage for you. Appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure to share this live stream with your family and friends. And also, you know, it's great to talk about some of the charities these teams work with for corrections. It's the Correction Officers Benevolent Association, Widows and Children's Fund, also known as the COBRA. For FDNY, they recently started working with the 9/11 Children's Foundation, along with many more. So all good stuff off the field for these guys, as, you know, this is not their primary job to play football. This is secondary.
Very true.
So it's going to be 2nd and long. They have to get to about the 5 for a first down. Jonas takes the handoff again. He is wrapped up by Cunningham. It's going to be 3rd down coming up for FDNY. Appreciate the comments from Gina and Michael as well. Rigoli bringing life to the offense. I do agree with that. He's brought in some good life. This is going to be 3rd down, though. 3rd and about 6. They need to get to the 5-yard line for a first. They're doing trips to the left here. Herman alone on the right, and that's where he's going with it. Overthrows Joe Herman, incomplete. 4th down.
They go for it here, Tom, or take the points?
Well, they're up 13-6. With the special teams issues they've had, not just with the kicking,
and also the long snapper,
with the snap and the blocking. Again, Surratt is a first-year player. Horowitz
looks like
has not kicked in a while.
Looks like they're going to go for it.
And this is the right move. Also, quick update, Mikal Welch has checked into the game at right guard. As Rigoli has trips to the left again. He examines, throws, incomplete, wide for Ortega, and Corrections will take over, so FDNY comes up empty.
Well, you got to like them going for it there on 4th down. They come up short but they have proven they can move the football here tonight. Last week was a struggle with Tom Heedles. He got knocked out of the game here early in the first quarter, where goalie coming in didn't miss a beat, and maybe he was the spark that FDNY needed, as he's put together a couple of impressive drives, 13 points on the board for FDNY offensively. No offensive touchdowns last week.
So let's see what Jukanovic can do here with limited time remaining in the first half. He has twins to each side. Jukanovic takes the snap, looks right, fires, throws, incomplete, nearly picked off.
Going deep on that play for the intended receiver, number 9 for the corrections department.
Casmel Minot, and John Moody was all over him, though.
Moody's been strong tonight.
Jukanovic has been very streaky so far with his passes. He's had a couple of good ones, but a couple of questionable ones as well due to the pressures applied from FDNY. He fires, throws complete by Palmer. Good catch. Makes one man miss. Dances across to about the 17-yard line.
That'll be close to a first down. You bring up a good point, though, Tom, with Demir. I mean, why not just keep throwing the ball down the field? And with that one-on-one matchup with Cameron, who did a spectacular job in getting wide open.
Yeah. For Cameron Palmer, this is only his 5th year with the team. He mentioned to me before the game, you know, he had more time in college. He had a lot more time on these routes, the defenders he was going up against. As far as corrections, he said he will play wherever they need him to. You see him out there catching passes, returning kicks, helping out on special teams. Look at this.
Wide open.
Wide open was Travis Briggins, but he overthrew him.
He had him. That's one that Demir is going to want to get back.
Matt Fitz, zero faith in special teams. Well, I mean, I think Steve Orr feels that special teams are going to come around, and I do agree throughout the season they're going to progress the longer they work together. But right now, it's definitely troublesome because you could definitely have more points on the board right now. They had the field goal blocked, the extra point in. What's this? We had a little, might have been 12 men here. It's 4th down, so it looks like Corrections is going to punt. DeSimone will be back deep to return for FDNY. He's standing around Corrections 45. So Conklin will head out there to punt. It's going to be very interesting to see what FDNY can do with the limited time remaining. The punt, sky-high punt. It takes a friendly Corrections bounce, hit off an FDNY player. DeSimone picks it up. He crosses the 35. He is grappled down at around the 34. And, you know, John, that was an interesting play. It almost looked like it touched a fire department player as a Corrections player was going to grab it.
Corrections guy's got his hand on that, too. Either way, it's going to be great field position for FDNY in the waning moments here of the first half.
So a quick update as far as what's going on with FDNY. Coach Rosati mentioned to me they're going to use a rotation tonight with their offensive line. Jarrett Howe currently in at left guard for Al Garcia. Chris Lataro at center, and then Macau Welsh at right guard. Both tackles remain the same in Craig Wells and Tim Caffrey. He did mention this last night on the call, so I'm not shocked they're going with this fluctuating rotation of guys. It's helping.
It seems to be working.
Joe Herman here on the near side to the right. Darren Payne singled out alone. He dumps it off to Jonas, makes the catch, crosses 35, gets inside the 30 to about the 29 before he's brought down by Anderson.
And another solid 5-6 yards on that play for the FDNY, as they will be at about 2nd and 4.
Trying to see what the referee just signaled to the fire department. Nevertheless, the fire department will have a 2nd down and about 4 at the 30-yard line. Sataro in at center. Rigoli has trips to the right this time, and that's where he's looking. He hesitates, throws. Joe Herman in the end zone for a touchdown. He caught it. Oh, no, he did not. Wait.
They're calling it incomplete.
One official said yes, and the other said no. No touchdown, Joe Herman. He did not maintain full possession.
But just a great toss by Rigoli, and good job out of Herman to put himself in a position to make that catch, but it was just bobbled at the last minute. And it's, in fact, not a catch. We will go to third down.
They're really going after Kareem Campbell, and this play, little dump off to Vomero, moves the chains for a first down. That's all they needed.
So coming right back, Rigoli to Vomero.
That's the second week in a row fire department player has caught a ball that looked good for a touchdown and lost control at the very last second, mid-call. All right, so we have a first down here for the FDNY, 1st and 10. Rigoli throws left. Vomero, it is batted down nicely by Steve Murphy. As you see now, Rigoli gets the call from the sideline, and they're trying to punch the ball in before the half, John. They're up 13-6 here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York, but they want to add more before going into the locker room.
And with the exception of that one big play on offense for the corrections department, FDNY has got to be happy.
Rigoli throws deep in the end zone, incomplete, and no flag called there. That was in the vicinity of Vomero, and it looked like Hain from here. Yep, those were the two in the area. John, it's funny, as they're making substitutions, we have to talk about that relationship between Coach Steve Orr and Coach John Rosati. They're two polar opposites. You could hear the yelling and screaming out there, and you can hear, you know, John Rosati saying we have to do it this way, very strategic. Steve Orr is a little more emotional out there.
Absolutely, and Steve Orr, you know, a longtime veteran of this organization. There's not a team in the league that wouldn't want Steve Orr and their coaching staff. He's a vocal guy. He's a no-nonsense guy, kind of very black and white, you know, got the raspy voice. But he always defers in the end of the head coach. They may disagree, but they have a terrific relationship overall, kind of like the good cop, bad cop, and it works.
We have an injury on the field here. That looks like an offensive lineman. Trying to figure out if that's Howe or Welch. It looks like Howe from here coming out. And coming in for him is number 69, Yuli Majaj. He will plug in at right guard for the moment as they look at Howe. I'm sorry, that's Welch that came out. Welch came out of the game. Howe still in there at left guard. Majaj is the new right guard for Welch.
And it's second down.
Yep. Second down at the 23. Rigoli throws deep over the head of everybody.
Looks like he might have wanted to just get rid of that one.
Yeah. And it looks like that might have been the final play of the half. Let's see. Let's wait. Nope. Half still going. Folks, just a quick reminder, no scoreboard here tonight, so we're keeping up with the action here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York.
We've got our internal clocks, Tom. Let's try to feel it out.
Yep. Doing the best we can with it.
We're happy to bring you the broadcast tonight. Second game of the season for FDNY, 1-0. Big win last week against the DC Generals.
Jakanovich with trips to his right. One receiver left, and that was number 80. And he threw wide left, nowhere, and Phipps was
maybe looking for an offensive pass interference on that call. At least that's what the FDNY is.
Yeah, it looked like Garrick Miller was in the vicinity, the receiver, number 80, but threw that a little wide left. As you see, there's a new linebacker in the game for the fire department. We'll get to that in just a moment. Jukanovic in the backfield, trips to his right. He takes a step back, rolls in the pocket. He's taken a move on it, and he is tackled from behind, brought down by number 53 for FDNY. That is Nicholas King. That's the guy I was referring to, reserve linebacker. Did not gain much. And he spikes the football. So it's going to bring up third down for Corrections. I want to quickly note here, number 24, Steve Murphy, in there on offense right now, usually a defensive back. But you'll see that a little bit. He also plays receiver and running back, and a flag has been thrown. This is going to be 12 men in the huddle on Corrections. Jukanovic and the offense will contemplate and plead their case.
Well, they're talking it over, the officials, and they will back it up. 5 yards against Corrections.
Folks, remember, coming up, we have halftime, and then we'll have second half coverage of this game as well. Really looking forward to it. Appreciate you all watching here on Facebook Live, on the Corrections Facebook page, and FDNY Facebook page as well. New York's Bravest, the New York's Boldest. New York's Boldest, their season opener here tonight. Finally getting a game in against the FDNY. Right now you see FDNY really working in some young players. Calvin Vidal in there, number 21 at the 3-tech. 5-tech, excuse me. Jukanovic drops back, has some time, takes a hit from King. It's up for grabs, and it just falls one hops Malera, incomplete. King's had a nice couple of plays in a row, John, number 53.
He certainly has, and the defense as a whole, especially the defensive line, wearing down.
See John Moody limping off the field, number 22 for FDNY. That's not good. He just came back from an injury today. He had an interception earlier on as well off Jukanovic. As John Ring will move to that free safety spot. Jukanovic looking for some daylight. He's contacted, and that ball, is it live? No, incomplete.
He was buried from behind. That was number, is that number 2031? I can't see from here.
Yep, Vidal was in there, but that's going to bring us to halftime, folks.
Right.
So at the half, the score, the FDNY leads Corrections Department 13-6. An interesting first half so far. A lot of miscues and penalties for both teams. Four turnovers for the Corrections Department, and a bunch of penalties for FDNY. So it'll be interesting to see what the teams do, discuss, talk about in the locker room, folks. But until then, we really appreciate you all tuning in. Just going to quickly run over some of the stuff here that I wanted to bring up tonight on the broadcast. I know John Rosati I believe he's going to speak with John Heffernan here for just a moment. We're going to throw it down to him in just a second, my color commentator. He loves football. This team is another firehouse for him. And, you know, we talked to him throughout the week and talked about the toughness of playing D.C. last week and now tonight against the Corrections Department. So at this time, John Heffernan is down on the field with John Rosati. We're going to throw it down to him right now.
Thanks so much, Tom. Here with Coach John Rosati, head coach for the Fire Department of New York. Coach, we're right over here. Your starting quarterback, Heedles, goes down early in the first quarter. What are you thinking at that point? And tell me a little bit about the job Chris Rigoli's done in backup.
Well, it's tough to lose a starter. He's the guy we put all our faith in. But Rigoli got a lot of reps at practice. We got him ready, and we have a lot of faith in him. He's good to go.
There seems to be a lot more flow to your offense here in week 2 for you guys. What did you work on this week to maybe get a little bit more of a rhythm?
Well, we just had to execute, what we were working on. That was just pretty much it. We were missing opportunities, and today we're taking advantage of the opportunities.
A couple of red zone miscues. You're up 13-6. What can you do getting back into the red zone to convert some of these good drives into points here in the second half?
Well, we got to make sure when we're down there, we take advantage of it. We went through this last year in this type of game. We had them early and came away with field goals. It wasn't enough, and we got to make sure that this time we score the touchdowns.
Defensively, specifically, your secondary seems to be swarming all over the field. Tell us a little bit about what you've liked out of your secondary and linebackers first half.
They're playing good. We're very fast back there, so they're using their speed. They're playing with some confidence, and I like what I'm seeing.
And your son's had a pretty good first half as well.
Yeah, so far so good.
Receiver, the son of Coach John Rosati. Head coach FDNY, John Rosati, good luck in the second half. Tom, that's going to do it here from down to the field. We'll have a little bit of a recap of the first half coming up in a little bit, but let's send it back to you.
Thanks, John. So that was John Heffernan, our very own, with John Rosati, the head coach of FDNY. Folks, at halftime, your score, New York's Bravest 13, New York's Boldest 6. We'll step aside for a few moments, and when we return, stay tuned for second half coverage between the FDNY and the Corrections Department. Thank you all. How's it going, everybody? Tom Scavetta here with John Heffernan at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York. It is halftime between New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest, FDNY, on top of Corrections 13-6. And while we have a few moments, John, we're just going to talk about Corrections and how they got started as a football program. The team actually, it operated from 1996 to 2005. There were a lot of key people involved, including Odessa Turner, who was a former New York Giants and San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. The team received a lot of donated equipment from the New York Giants. And heading into 2005, they had to combine their team with the Department of Sanitation. And then after a year, they had to end the team. And then they took a few years off, came back in 2011. Correction officer Chris Harris put flyers up on Rikers Island, teamed up with Chris Chamberlain, who's currently the team president, and Brian O'Hara, a player from that old team. So this entire organization, the Corrections team we see today, was built from complete scratch. New administrative staff, new coaching staff, uniform design, a roster with new players. That 2011 team actually even fielded 5 players from the previous team. So it's kind of interesting to see how they got to where they are now, back from 1996. And Travis Briggins, number 4, who's a receiver, running back, DB from them, is the only player left from that 2011 team. But some of the other guys, you know, they've taken time off, they've returned throughout the years. And the team consists with a lot of different public safety jobs, uniformed correction officers, Port Authority, police, school safety, EMTs, you name it. But that's just a little background on them. So they're kicking off their 10th season in the National Public Safety Football League. But, John, I know we kind of want to recap the first half here as well and talk about some of the key moments.
Well, you know, I was thinking with the FDNY, those 3 big penalties on their first offensive series of the game, not the start you'd think they envisioned getting off on. But they rebounded quickly, and then you got Heedles, who goes down, a big injection of life into the football game in their backup. And I think they didn't miss a beat, FDNY. They picked up after losing Heedles, and their offense looks much, much better than it did last week.
I think FDNY has controlled this entire game except that one play. Jukanovic, the 61-yard touchdown pass to Cameron Palmer, the CW Post alumnus, who has been an outstanding young talent for this team over the past 5 years. Without that play, FDNY is pitching a shutout again. And it's funny because the fire department's defense, they were causing turnovers early on in that first half.
Big story of turnovers is really the story of the game as far as I'm concerned. And also the play of quarterback Damir Jukanovic, who I think would admittedly say he has not had the first half that he wanted. Some big interceptions, 4 turnovers, as you mentioned, as we are getting ready to start the second half here. What do you think the keys are for Corrections to get back into this thing?
Corrections needs to use their size. They need to run the football and use their success there, get the ball to KJ Hamler, and limit their turnovers. You're not going to win a football game turning the ball over 4 times. That's just not going to cut it. Fortunately for them, FDNY has been only able to score 13 points.
Well, we did get one big play out of the Damir Jukanovic, Cameron Palmer connection. So they're certainly capable of it. Your guy, Palmer, was one of the keys to the game, players to watch. Do you think that combination can rear its ugly head again here in the second half?
I definitely think it could. I think the fire department, their secondary is thin. It's one of their weak links. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And, John, your guy, Christian Malera, had a nice interception in that
big
first
interception.
half.
He was one of my players to watch as we had an opportunity to talk to Christian before the game. And Christian talked a lot about perseverance. You know, he tore an ACL about 10 years ago. Never thought he'd be able to play. And this is a second chance for him. One of the big spirited guys on this team is going to be down for a touchback on the kickoff by the FDNY.
As Cameron Palmer will watch it bounce into the end zone for a touchback, or roll, that is. And, folks, welcome back to Aviator Field here in Brooklyn, New York. New York's Bravest, New York's Boldest in this National Public Safety Football League matchup. Tom Scavetta with John Heffernan here. FDNY on top of New York Corrections Department, 13-6.
the other thing that Malera said I just wanted to also mention is that there's a lot of interchangeable parts per position. For example, Malera and John Ring, they can go in and out. There's no selfishness on this team. And defensively, that really has been the key. It's all about winning. And a commitment has been made by this FDNY team this season. And Malera went out to say he's one of the best group of guys he's been a part of since he started playing on this team 10 years ago.
The handoff to Clark, gain of 3, tackled by Allure, and there's a new offensive lineman in there for Corrections, trying to get a hold of that, and it is number 51 for Corrections, Marco Veruit. He is in there at right guard. Vincent Ferreira started right guard in this game, so that's an interesting little switch. And then Sean Brophy in there at center. Obviously, David Diaz, the starting center, left with an injury as well.
That was a big hit for Corrections.
2nd and 7, Jukanovic rolls right. He's going to take off with it himself, cross the 30, bumped out of bounds at the 31 by Kevin Brockmeyer.
One of the few times we've seen Jukanovic run the football, as he's taken out by number 97 for the FDNY.
Yeah, Brockmeyer had a forced fumble in that first half, causing one of the 4 turnovers.
Brockmeyer has been solid at 6'5", 240.
Yep.
He is a big presence out there at defensive line men for FDNY.
Just underway here in the 3rd quarter, folks, in Brooklyn, New York. 3rd and 4 for New York Corrections.
As I said earlier, Tom, this score is not indicative, in my opinion, of the dominant performance all around in the first half by FDNY. It could be a lot worse for Corrections as they are looking to rebound here in their first series of the second half here in the 3rd quarter. Aviator Field, Brooklyn, New York.
As you see, Minot in motion. And John Moody is not out there to start the second half for the fire department. It's Ring and Malera deep. There's the quick throw, incomplete, underthrew Minot. Good coverage by Allure.
And once again, Jukanovic coming up short on that pass. Underthrown.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's had time. There haven't been a lot of rushed throws for him.
No.
And it's surprising to see how off he has seemed at times in this game, and then he'll have flashes of brilliance.
Yeah. The good news for the FDNY, though, John Moody does have his helmet on the sideline. 4th and 4 for Corrections. John Conklin on to punt. Lawrence D. Simone will return. It's a fake. It's a fake, and Theo Clark gets across midfield into FDNY territory down to their 47-yard line.
And we got one of the first trick plays of the game, and it pays huge dividends for Corrections as Theo Clark takes the snap that was originally intended and set up as a punt on 4th down for Corrections, and Theo Clark rambles to close to midfield.
Yeah.
As Corrections will maintain possession and a huge first down, and that may be the lift Corrections needs to get back into this thing. Great call. Great call. You always say a great call, especially when it works, but it certainly worked there. I got to imagine that's something they probably practiced this week.
Bill Parcells asked Gary Reasons.
Yeah, good call.
There you go.
Good call.
Clark picked up 18, I believe, on that fake punt.
And Steve Orr's got to be shaking his head on that one, the assistant for FDNY.
Jukanovic out there with trips to his left. This is the push that they needed. He throws deep. It's Conklin actually out there. Underthrows Hamler. Sorry, Palmer.
Way underthrown.
Conklin is back in the game for Jukanovic. Just a heads up. So they're rotating their quarterbacks, too. They're not the only team to do it.
I didn't get too many details on the extent of the Heedles injury, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
At the quarterback position for Corrections, they just seem to be going back and forth with both Jukanovic and Conklin. So it's Conklin now under center, shotgun position. Yeah. Or no, Jukanovic is back in.
Is he?
Is that? Yeah. It's hard to see.
Nope, it's Conklin.
It's Conklin.
Clark takes the handoff, gets to about midfield for a pickup of 2. That'll bring up 3rd and about 8. And bad news for Corrections. Number 53, David Diaz, is walking back to his sideline now without a helmet. So that does not look good for them.
Diaz appears to be done for the night.
Folks, if you're just joining the live stream now, make sure to share the stream with your friends, family. I really appreciate you all tuning in tonight here. So it'll be 3rd and 8 for Corrections. Corrections have had trouble moving the chains, but Conklin takes the snap, pump fakes, goes deep to Minot, overthrew, incomplete.
Into double coverage. The ball was nowhere near its intended target.
4th down.
And
Well,
it's going to bring up 4th down.
John, if there's been one weakness for the fire department, it's been their special teams unit. Steve Ward mentioned it, how crucial it's going to be in this game, and we've seen so far the blocked field goal, the fake punt. We've seen it time and time again. The extra point, they couldn't handle the snap. FDNY is allowing DC to remain in this game because of those mistakes.
Yeah, and credit both the defenses, too, though, for clamping down, especially after some big plays, to keep this thing close. But certainly, special teams has been a huge factor.
So that is going to be about a 37-yard punt for Conklin as the fire department will take over possession.
And that's a good punt. It's going to back up the fire department from around their own 15-yard line is where it looks like the placement's going to be.
Yep. Rigoli takes the field for the fire department to start the second half, their first drive. And Al Garcia back in there at left guard. Mikal Welch is not in there. Have Sataro at center and Howe at right guard. Caffrey and Wells are the tackles. Vomero in the slot to the left. Payne wide left here. Receivers to the right are Rosati and Herman. As Rigoli takes the snap, hands it off to Jonas, gains a couple. Folks, if you're just joining us, it's been a very interesting first half. A lot of turnovers, a lot of penalties, and a few injuries on both sides. Teams have been banged up. Both backup quarterbacks have seen action in this game, and for FDNY, it's been Rigoli for a while now.
Rigoli really has been the straw that has stirred the FDNY drink tonight. He's been rolling out right, rolling out left, handing the ball off, short passes, long, scrambling for yards. He has been impressive.
Goalie out of engine 236. He takes the snap, fires over the middle of the field. It is tipped, incomplete. Good job there by Corrections. That pass was intended for Rosati.
So it looks like 3rd and 10.
Yep.
Going to have to throw the ball here in the early going of the third quarter, as FDNY has been backed up to about their 15. Either way, if they don't convert here, it's going to be good field position for Corrections. But let's not get ahead of myself.
Here comes the blitz from Corrections. Rigoli throws. Caught by Vomero along the near side.
It's going to be close.
He's got it.
Oh, he's got it.
I think he's got it.
First down.
Beautiful timing route there.
And just a clutch play. Vomero, again, not having a scoreboard, but his gameplay tonight has been absolutely terrific. He's been an intended target repeatedly for Rigoli, and he's had some big grabs here tonight.
Takes the snap. It's going to be a handoff to Jonas across the middle of the field. He's brought down by Gibson and Trugman in there as well for Corrections. So Jonas had that nice run for a touchdown, but a lot of his runs are north and south. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away with a lot of speed. He's 5'9", 215 out of engine 248. It's only his first year with the team.
You know, Tom, also as this game wanes on here as we are in the third quarter, being in shape is one thing, game shape is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And this being the first game for the Corrections department, I'm wondering if fatigue is going to become a factor here in the second half.
Quick pass right through the outstretched arms of Jonas. Incomplete. 3rd down. as Dal Cortivo will check in for him right on cue. Shrugman checking out here for corrections. They're bringing in their pass rushers for third down. See Anthony Jiggett's in there in the interior, along with Rodney Anderson. Andrew Smith, John Cunningham. John Cunningham's been quiet since the first couple of drives. Haven't mentioned his name much. Third and long. Rigoli throws. Vomero with the one-handed grab. And he's got a first down.
Not only a one-handed grab, but he had to completely turn himself around, turn his head in the other direction, all while grabbing that pass from a goalie with one hand and hauling it in. Vomero quickly emerging as tonight's offensive MVP along with the quarterback Rigoli. That has been a tandem and a combination that's been fun to watch and very successful for the FDNY.
That's his 6th catch of the game.
That's got to be the catch of the game.
First down, Rigoli will go deep. He's got to manage Joe Herman. Flag on the field. Herman cannot make the dive and grab, but
man, he had him too.
It might be against corrections here.
It's thrown in the secondary.
Might be pass interference on the defense. That'll be my guess. Got some Boldest fans tuning in. That penalty will be on the Boldest. You await the call. Yep, Vomero's been a staple on this team for the past 15 years out of Monsignor Farrell High School. He's been outstanding for the fire department.
I mean, take your pick when it comes to FDNY receivers, whether it's Vomero, Ortega, Jonas, Rosati.
All right. They're at the 47. So that pass interference brought them up to their own 47-yard line. Rigoli in the game. Dal Cortivo is the back to his right. Twins to each side. FDNY looking to add to their 7-point lead. Dal Cortivo takes the draw. Nice little run. Moves his way to about the 46-yard line for a pickup of about 6. Second down and 4 coming up. John, those plays don't look like much, but it adds up, and it keeps you ahead of the sticks.
They just keep pounding away, 3, 4, 5 yards. And it is 2nd and 5.
Good catch by Herman on the high throw, and he's going to get the first down into the correction territory.
Just another quick slant to the right, another 5-6 yard pickup. And Rosati will take that, as will Rigoli. Just keep banging away, short yard gains.
Yep.
Moving the sticks on an impressive long drive for FDNY here in the second half, third quarter action.
They're at the corrections 41-yard line now. That ball is batted by Anderson. Good job. He's been all over the field for them.
Anderson is just an absolute load to handle there. Got his mid up and deflected that pass by Rosati. I'm sorry, by Rigoli.
This new offensive system, it's a good system, Coach Rosati said the other day, and it looks like Rigoli in the offense, they're getting a hand of it now, as you see Lawrence DeSimone checking in as a slot receiver. One of the trips to Rigoli's left on this play, as Herman is split out wide right. Jonas, the back in the backfield. Rigoli takes the snap, looks across the middle of the field. It is dropped by DeSimone. Took a hit, too.
Tom, one other thing I think it's important to note is the efficiency in which Rigoli is running this offense. It's almost a hurry-up offense. He's been in the shotgun every single play of the game, and he's operated effectively, quickly, confidently, and here's a guy who didn't even start the game. So he gets thrown in there and has been really, really good.
Just a heads up, Yuli Majaj back in the game at left guard for Al Garcia. Part of that rotation that they use. Rosati in the game as well for DeSimone. Dal Cortivo in the backfield. And a high snap taken by Rigoli, throws over the middle, batted again. Excellent job by that front.
Down.
Corrections is doing a really good job just getting their hands up. That's the second play.
Well, they're certainly not giving up. And, Tom, this is a close game. And with the amount of turnovers we've had tonight, this game has changed on a dime and looks like it can continue to do so.
So FDNY will punt from Corrections 41. Horowitz out to punt. High snap. Horowitz gets it off. This is a wobbly kick. Takes a bounce at about the 18. It is down by the fire department there. That was Charles Turner. So that punt will log only 21 yards.
Down at the 20-yard line as Corrections will take over. And it'll be interesting to see who they put in at quarterback, because it's been a revolving door between Jukanovic and Conklin.
We have a comment in the comment section right now from Anthony Mez. FDNY left guard Yuli Majaj can squat and deadlift over 500 pounds. Talk about a fun fact.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd love to see that.
That is Quadzilla right there.
All right, so Brophy still in the game for center, and it is Conklin at quarterback for Corrections. They have trips to the right here. Palmer split out wide left. Conklin hands off to Clark. He makes one man miss, tripped up by Allure and Richards.
Who does Clark remind you of in running style? There's a couple I could think of, but low center of gravity, kind of a stock figure. He's got kind of a wild, Bettis. I'm going to date myself here.
Thinking, yeah.
Bettis, Iron Head Hayward. They have a kind of a similar jerky downhill kind of running, which is exciting to watch. And I hope Theo gets the ball a little bit more here in the third quarter.
And in the keys to the game, too, this linebacking crew for the fire department is deep. All 6 guys can play. They rotate, stay fresh. They gel very quick. Their strong D-line and linebackers are able to stop the run, and that was one of Steve Orr's keys.
Pressure.
As Conklin throws in the dirt. Ring was coming in hot.
Yeah, Ring was all over him on that play.
Folks, 13-6 here in this third quarter. We're approaching about close to the midway point of the third quarter. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York. Thank you all for watching here tonight as we approach the 9 o'clock hour in New York City. Still 54 degrees and cloudy here in Brooklyn.
Not a lot of points, Tom. Lots of mistakes on special teams, penalty-filled game. But we've seen a lot of good things from FDNY on both sides of the ball tonight, especially out of their quarterback defensively. This is a good indicator right here on a big pass play for Corrections.
3rd and 10. Conklin surveys, hoisted up in the area of Palmer, and he makes the catch. He's past the 30, in the 20. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. Oh, my goodness, Cameron Palmer. Put an exclamation point on it.
Cameron Palmer just blew open the Jets to catch up with that gorgeous pass from John Conklin.
That was at least 70 yards.
That had to be longer than the first half touchdown pass that Jukanovic threw. Conklin says, I'll take you and I'll up you one on this play. And that was huge for the Corrections department as Cameron Palmer hauled in a deep, deep throw from John Conklin.
As Corrections will go for 2. Now the current score is 13-12 because the last touchdown Palmer scored, they went for 2 and did not convert. So FDNY still leads by 1 point at the moment.
So they're going for 2 to take the lead.
Told you, my player to watch, Cameron Palmer, he is cashing in, and this is for the lead right here. Conklin, twins to each side. FDNY trying to keep a 1-point lead here. A bad snap of Conklin, has nowhere to go with it. He's going to get twisted up, still finds a way to throw it, and it is caught! It is caught by Travis Briggins, and the 2-point conversion is good.
Tom, Conklin had two guys draped all over him. His forward motion was stopped. That almost could have been an in the grasp, but somehow he managed to stay standing and found a streaking receiver in the back of the end zone. Who was that with the 2-point conversion?
That was Travis Briggins, the longest tenured guy, only player from that 2011 team. The captain puts New York's Boldest on top for the first time today, 14-13.
Briggins showing some real savvy as the play broke down, and at that point it becomes sandlot football. And Conklin spotted Briggins streaking across the back of the end zone, and the 2-point conversion is good, and we've got the first lead of the night for the Corrections Department of New York City.
You know, and like I said before the game, Jukanovic had high praise for Palmer. Conklin, I'm sure, does too, this whole team. That is the issue. Last week, Mike Silva started at corner. Phipps has been banged up. They had Lorenzo Claudio in there today, who's more of a nickel guy. They're taking advantage of that mismatch. That is that one weakness on that fire department secondary, the secondary. Steve Orr was concerned about it, and right now it seems like, I don't want to say it, but it cost them the lead.
It did, and momentum has been key here tonight.
Absolutely.
And Ryan McGovern must have had some one heck of a halftime speech as these guys have come out from the Corrections
Conklin kicks
Department
off.
flying.
It is fielded by Dalcourt Tivo at around the 20. He's got a good return. He's getting close to midfield, and he gets tackled at the 49-yard line. So an excellent return for Dalcourt Tivo as FDNY now finds themselves down by 1 point.
Well, Dalcourt Tivo bringing that ball out to about the 49-yard line. Excellent field position for FDNY as they look to answer back as they're trailing for the first time here tonight.
FDNY has seen their 13-point lead erased. They were up 13-0. Corrections has 2 touchdowns. Jukanovic threw a bomb to Palmer, and now Conklin to Palmer. Here's the snapper goalie, throws, fires, finds Joe Herman, crosses the 45, brought down at about the 43.
And he picks up about 8 yards.
Yeah, 2nd and 2. John, it's a good football game.
Excellent football game. Lots of excitement. And, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time these two teams played, didn't it come down to
Came down to the last play.
The last play of the game. So we're in similar territory here tonight in terms of the closeness of this matchup.
2nd and 2. The handoff to Dalcourt Tivo. He has the first down up to about the 40.
That game ended on an interception, wasn't it?
Yep.
Last second interception made by the FDNY to preserve.
Nope.
Oh.
It was made by Corrections.
Oh, made by Corrections.
Do you know who had that interception?
No.
Cameron Palmer.
Cameron Palmer. Wouldn't that be something?
1st and 10 from the 40. FDNY threatening to score here.
Oh, that's right. It was 4 field goals for FDNY.
Throws. Dalcourt Tivo put a hand up to get it, but that ball was overthrown. As folks, that will bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter, according to the official. Waiting for confirmation, and yes, that does. So, before we step aside, folks, want to remind you all that tonight's football game is sponsored by LiveView Solo. Want to give a quick shout out to their marketing manager, Joyce Essing, your #1 bonding cellular service for live streaming events. All right, so when we return, we will have 4th quarter coverage here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York. You're watching New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest Football here on Facebook Live. Welcome back, folks. 4th quarter starting here. Rigoli, quick throw, and it is juggled, and it is incomplete. Tom Scavetta with John Heffernan here to reset the scene. Aviator Field, Brooklyn, New York on this Saturday night. New York Corrections Department ahead of FDNY by a score of 14-13. Very quick third quarter intermission.
You know, if that guy had played the ball and not the man, that would have had an interception written all over it.
Yeah.
So Rigoli maybe getting away with one there. Dangerous pass into the flat.
It's going to be interesting to see how this fourth quarter unfolds as we are just underway. FDNY trying to get their lead back after seeing it get squashed by Cameron Palmer on a 70-plus yard touchdown throw from Conklin.
Yeah, and the big plays have been the difference, because if you look at time of possession, FDNY outplayed Corrections in the first half, and it's been a couple of big plays that have given Corrections the lead.
3rd and 10, and this is going to be...
That's going to go against Corrections.
Let's see which way it goes, though. It's probably offside.
It looked like Rodney Anderson, number 70, jumping off sides for Corrections.
Yeah, Cunningham and Anderson jumped. So now it'll be 3rd and 5 for FDNY, which helps them out a little. Yep, got to overcome the adversity here. Dal Cortivo in the backfield. Rosati and Herman to Rigoli's right. Vomero and Payne to his left. Garcia and Mujaj are the guards at the moment. They've been rotating all night. Throw caught by Rosati. He moves the chains for a first down, wrapped up by a couple of defenders.
I was impressed by that reception by Rosati, because he hesitated just a little bit to create a little bit more space right before Rigoli threw that pass. Rosati showing some field awareness and smarts on that reception, as he had two guys closing in on him.
Kadeem Jonas back in the game for New York's Bravest. Rigoli takes the snap, looks right, throws right. Caught by Rosati again, bumped out of bounds.
You know, go ahead. Sorry,
after
Tom.
A gain of about 7.
The more I see of this kid, the more I like him. He may not be the flashiest player in the world, Rosati, but he is reliable. And he's able to get and create space, and he runs very precise routes, and he's got a great set of hands on him.
So looks we have an injury on the field here. Let's see. A couple of guys have their knees down here. This might just be like a little hydration timeout. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Hard to see what's going on our end.
Tom, these temperatures are dropping. And the wind's picked up here, too, in the second half. You look at the flags behind the opposite goalposts. The wind is really whipping as we're so close to the water.
The injured player was number 26, Dexter McCrae, for Corrections. It was on the near side of the field with the fire department bench kind of blocking our view there on that. But McCrae was down, and he's still limping, helped off the field by the training staff.
And again, you guys, not to belabor the point, but we apologize for not having a scoreboard, so it's hard to gauge exactly how much time I have a feeling is going to be very, very important as the fourth quarter is underway. And we got a barn burner here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York.
As expected, these games are always tight. Last time, Corrections won 15-12. Let's see if the fire department can get back on top. Rigoli throws off his back foot deep in the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Joe Herman!
Joe Herman making it look easy as he nonchalantly hands the ball off to the referee and said, yep, that's what we do.
He beat his defender, Andrew Richards, who they have not tested much tonight, and they finally did, and Joe Herman puts the fire department back on top 19-14 with the extra point pending.
Well, you got to like the punch back there by FDNY.
Well, they're going for 2, which makes sense.
You know, because that was a deflating 2-point conversion by Corrections. But instead of letting it affect them, they came right back, and that was an impressive drive time. As you said, they're going for 2.
Yeah, trips to the right for Rigoli. Payne wide left. Rigoli looks right, fires, throws, incomplete. 2-point conversion fails. So the score remains FDNY 19, Corrections 14. Tom Scavetta, John Heffernan here on the call tonight. John, back and forth we go. Fire department had a 13-0 lead, forced 4 turnovers in that first half, had a couple injuries on the line for Corrections, but Corrections responds 2 touchdowns by Cameron Palmer, and now Joe Herman gives FDNY the lead back.
Yeah, and that 5 points is interesting because field goal obviously wouldn't be enough to put Corrections ahead. But 6 would without an extra point. And these scenarios are going to be interesting as we march through the fourth quarter. FDNY with an impressive drive. Great throw by Rigoli, up by 5 on the missed 2-point conversion as Horowitz gets set to kick off for FDNY. Horowitz much improved tonight, Tom, compared to last week.
He has been as he gets ready to kick off, back deep to return. It's Palmer. He fields it from the 15. He's got a little bit of room in front of him. Makes one man miss. He gets across the 25.
Your boy Cameron, a little hesitation,
to about
little
the
high stepping.
John, just want to wish a happy birthday to Steve Trugman on Corrections. We get a couple comments saying today is his birthday. So
happy birthday, Steve-O.
Really do appreciate that. And this just in, according to Michael Mahone, I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but apparently the Seminoles have defeated the NYPD 32-0. That is a non-league game. So we will have to check online to double check to make sure.
Wait,
not going to say
32 to nothing?
Well, now he's saying 39. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. Check a little later, but yeah, that's definitely alarming if that is in fact.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up because
thank you for bringing that up, though.
We as we all know, for FDNY, it's all about the lead-in to the big game versus PD.
Conklin takes the low snap, scrambles right, finds his receiver, and that's Minot across midfield into FDNY territory. Prokop on the stop.
Minot wide open.
Yep.
Not many yards after the catch, but it's going to move the sticks for the Corrections Department as they are into FDNY territory past the 50-yard line. It'll be first down from about the 47.5-yard line.
I want to mention Joe Herman, too, on that last touchdown. His size, he's 6'2", and remember, last week against D.C., he had a 40-yard catch. He was a big target for them. He outsizes corners severely. So happy to see the fire department, on their sake, get him involved.
You know, one thing I've noticed, too, with Corrections is we get set for the snap.
Low snap, not Rigoli. Conklin just has to fall on it, and they lose about 5 yards.
Yeah, it's just a good indicator of, you know, we've seen good flashes from Corrections offensively, but this being their first game, consistency and rhythm has been hard to come by. And we saw a lot of that out of the FDNY offense last week, and they've evened things out quite a bit.
This is not good for Corrections. Sean Brophy, the backup center, is limping off the field. They already lost David Diaz earlier in this game, so now you have to go deep into your bench, and coming in for Corrections is number 51, Marco Viruet at center.
And, you know, we talked about being in shape versus game shape as some of the players are getting banged up here in the second half. And when it comes to depth, FDNY has a much larger roster in terms of numbers.
So actually they're going to put Viruet in at right guard and move Ferreira to center. Vincent Ferreira, number 75, will now play center. Conklin, handoff to Clark. Hesitates, makes a nice spin move, makes one man miss, and he's tough to bring down. He gets to about back to midfield. Allure on the stop.
A little misdirection before handing it off to Theo Clark. Clark really could have been stopped a couple of yards earlier, but he manages to not have that be too huge a loss for corrections, as they are now at the 50-yard line on 3rd down and about 12.
Big 3rd down coming up here for corrections. Trying to keep this drive alive. They now find themselves down by 5 here in the 4th quarter. Conklin takes the snap, fires one over the middle of the field, incomplete, in between 2 defenders. Minot, nobody home.
And Christian Malera.
And we have a scuffle here between the 2 teams at around the 45. Trying to separate the players there. There's a little...
You know, these guys got to be careful because we had a tight ball game here, and you got to be smart and disciplined. Not worth any kind of unsportsmanlike conduct. Personal fouls could really be a game changer. Things have settled down. But Malera was stalking the receiver on that last play and was looking to line him up, but the ball was underthrown as we are now.
Well, we're at 4th down. 4th down in about 3 yards, but Conklin is also the punter, so it looks like they're going to punt the football away here. And by the way, John Ring is saying nobody's going back deep, but now he's backpedaling. Let's see if FD takes a timeout, and they will, to talk things over. But, John, on that previous scuffle, it was Mike Prokop for FDNY and Vincent Ferreira for corrections going at it there.
The 2 main combatants.
Yeah, you know, one of the linebackers coaches, Mike McPartland, who now has some former players now as assistants with him, like Rob Hoey. But McPartland was saying he really likes his linebacking core, especially Prokop. Boost of energy, first year starting, had a forced fumble earlier in this game. And Frank Zerbo as well, who's a rookie, had a forced fumble last week out of Staten Island, New York. Zerbo has fit right into this scheme, and he's a mistake-free type of player who's done a lot of good things for the team.
We haven't been calling Richie Richards' number as much this week. He's one of the defensive captains at middle linebacker, but has contributed in lots of ways tonight. You don't have to be in on every tackle to make a big difference.
So after the fire department timeout, corrections has changed their mind. They're going for it. 4th and 3.
This could be the play of the game.
Here's the snap. Conklin looks, eludes some traffic.
Room.
He's going to take off, eludes one defender, and he's finally brought down for a sack as the fire department will force a turnover on downs.
That's an absolutely huge play. FDNY now with amazing field position.
That was Travis Pope on the sack out of the University of West Georgia.
And I got to tell you, Tom, I don't really get that decision. It's not like there's a couple minutes left in the ball game. I mean, you kick it in, you kick it away there, punt it away, back FDNY up, but they went for it, and it cost them.
Yeah, they lost that field position too now, as where FD has the ball in corrections territory. So, folks, if you're just joining us now, FDNY on top, 19-14 here, Aviator Field, Brooklyn, New York. Tom Scavetta with John Heffernan on the call. Chris Rigoli in the game, takes the high snap, fires deep. He's got a man. Incomplete. That was Payne.
He did have him open. And Payne tiptoeing the sideline, but that ball was thrown way out of bounds. So we'll be 2nd down. And FDNY moved the ball with a fair amount of ease on their last possession, which, again, surprised me with the decision that corrections made to go for it on 4th down.
I'm intrigued to see if they go after that Joe Herman, Andrew Richards matchup again. Rigoli backpedals, throws on the run. It's caught by Jonas, picked up about a yard before Stephen Murphy came crashing in. see the defense talking things over here on the sideline for FDNY. You have their defensive coordinator, Cameron Peak, in there. Cameron Peak's done a fine job today. So has their offensive coordinator, Tom Hench, getting more points on the board this week, taking shots downfield. Tom Hench, senior, that is. So Rigoli has twin receivers to each side. Dal Cortivo in the backfield with him. Rigoli examines, takes his time, overthrows everybody. Incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down, John.
Yeah. You know, it's been a fun matchup to watch has been the Sataro, the center for FDNY. He is going up against a huge man for the corrections department at nose tackle. And Sataro's done a heck of a job. He's been busy.
Horowitz will punt. Palmer back deep at around his own 10. Here's the punt from Horowitz. Little line drive kick. Palmer fields it nicely. He makes one man miss, holding the ball very loosely there, and he stomped at about the 23-yard line.
Another good kick by Horowitz.
Yeah. Palmer with 12-yard return. And that is where corrections will take over. John, they're getting towards that point where you have to think touchdown.
Well, it is getting close to clock management becoming a big factor. Every possession now a big factor. And again, if I'm going to look to one defensive play by FDNY, it was snuffing that 4th down.
Yeah.
And we've talked about momentum. That was a huge play.
Coach McGovern didn't expect anything less than a great performance from the fire department, and honestly, both teams have had a great performance in this second half. First half, there was a lot of miscues and turnovers. Here's the snap and the handoff to Clark, brought down by Wilson. Picked up a couple. Coaches are yelling at Prokop, make sure he doesn't stick his nose back in there.
I have to say, too, I mean, as we look forward down the line with the calendar for both of these teams, you know, Conklin has certainly, I think, outperformed Jukanovic today overall. And that's going to factor into the corrections plans. This game far from over. But that was an interesting dynamic, and I think Conklin's proved a lot here tonight.
Absolutely. Conklin takes the snap, pump fakes, throws deep again. This is going to be a pass for Minot, and it's broken up by John Ring.
Thrown into double coverage, nearly picked off.
Dollison in there, actually.
I like the Conklin pump fake and then stepping up into the pocket.
John, speaking of Conklin and what they might do at quarterback for their next game is May 8th. They're playing the NYPD.
Interesting. PD getting blown out apparently tonight. We don't have confirmation on that just yet.
But
that's a big surprise.
According to a source, yeah. We'll have to check the NPSFL website.
So their next game is May. What did you say? For
May 8th for corrections.
It's another interesting point. These guys aren't used to playing every week.
Right.
Usually there's a week off, and Rosati, the head coach for FDNY, talked about that not being ideal for him, going back-to-back weekends.
3rd and long here. Conklin lined up with twins to each side. Clark has been the primary back today for corrections. And yeah, John Moody's still not back in the game, but he's watching from the sideline. He's got his hands on.
That's too bad if he's
on his knees. Yep.
If he's going to be out.
Pass is caught by Briggins, but he is twisted up like a pretzel by Vozos. We were brought up that he was going to be used more in pass coverage this week.
That's right. That's correct with Vozos. Did you also know that one of the did you know John Ring was originally a wide receiver on this team?
Yeah, and he actually played some running back for them too, I'm pretty sure.
So, one guy goes down, another guy steps up. But Moody did so much to get into this game tonight. Unable to play last week. Worked hard to get back. I hope he's okay.
So Conklin set to punt here, deep in his own territory.
Moody, a big cheerleader for this FDNY team.
Here's the kick. Nobody back for the FD to field it. This is going to take a friendly corrections bounce. Now it bounces back towards the 30-yard line, and that's where it's touched. Chris Chamberlain, the team president for corrections, brought up that his favorite part about the National Public Safety Football League is it's pretty exciting how there's, John, just a nationwide of blue-collar law enforcement workers. They get to go out there and play the sport that they love when they're not on the job.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, when you think about the type of human being it takes to work at places like Rikers Island and the stress and the mental checklist these guys have to go through to do a job that's not for everybody.
Right.
And we really appreciate all that they do.
Goalie hands off to Jonas, gets tripped up, gain of about 5. That was Trugman in there on the stop.
I was talking to Christian Malera about that and how those kinds of jobs in high-pressure situations, whether it be running into a burning building or dealing with prisoners and different things, how it really does translate well to the intensity of a football field, and it's a good outlet for these guys too.
Corrections, they went 4-2 in 2019, and they're showing why. They're a good football team. In fact, they won their final 2 games via shutout against Philly and Central Texas. So we expected nothing less than a competitive game today, and you see it there again as Jonas is
Did he lose
decked.
the football?
No, his knee was down.
Okay.
But
He's
again,
backed up to the line of scrimmage.
Just another great play. Kevin Card from that linebacker position.
Kevin Card's been
in the
a beast
backfield
today. Good penetration by Card. And it will be 3rd down, just like that for FDNY. And things are looking good now for corrections on that beautiful punt that took a corrections bounce. FDNY at their own 33-yard line on 3rd down and about 7.
Alcortivo in the backfield next to Rigoli. Twins to each side. Rigoli takes the snap, and that's coming back for a false start.
Tack on another 5 yards.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd and long. Coach McGovern's done a good job holding his own today, John. The guy out of Queens, New York, played high school football at Holy Cross, not too far. So he's done a nice job. Technically his 5th season as head coach. He's been around since 17. But
5th season as head coach, and he credits a lot of the change in culture to Chamberlain, the president of the Corrections Department football team, and they work jointly together and done a great job.
Rigoli takes the snap on this 3rd down play. Deep throw to Joe Herman. It's dropped.
Oh, my gosh. It was right in his hands, Tom.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Is he going to want that one back?
That'll bring up 4th down. And just a heads up to the person that commented about time in the live stream, we don't have a scoreboard here, so we're doing the best we can to keep you updated with the time. If we find anything out, we will absolutely let you know. I'd imagine we're around midway through the 4th quarter at this point. Probably somewhere between that 6 to 8 minute mark left in the 4th.
Yeah, and Joe Herman, I'm sure he'd want that one back, but he's made some key receptions today as well.
Horowitz with that rugby-style punt. Palmer, he's not afraid to pick it up. He's trying to run around defenders. He's got some room. He's past the 30, past the 40, across midfield. Finally tripped up by, looked like Horowitz might have got him. No.
Tom, does Cameron Palmer have any kind of track and field background as well? I mean, he has got wheels, and his acceleration is explosive.
What's crazy was he was not in the best position to run that.
No, he went the opposite way.
I remember watching him taking a few punt returns back at post. He was definitely an interesting receiver who kind of took a little time to develop because at post, a lot of guys are 5-year guys. So the younger guys don't play right away. So he sat behind some, good players that came before him, and then he had the position switch. So, and a lot of DBs, receivers, are notorious for returning kicks. So I'm not shocked. But this play
It's
actually
going to come back, Tom.
is coming back for an illegal block in the back against Corrections.
That is a huge, huge penalty. As Tom, you said 6 minutes. Again, we don't have the luxury of a
Say around six
scoreboard. I think it's less than that.
6 to 7 at most.
And that Palmer return going to come all the way back.
That's rough.
To the 20-yard line.
It's Conklin out there again, who is in relief for Djukanovic. Both starters were replaced early on. Djukanovic came back in, but Conklin back in again. Conklin takes the snap, surveys, has to get through one defender, throws a rifle, but it one-hops the receiver.
Well, credit Conklin for scrambling and avoiding the sack, stepping up into the pocket, but it's underthrown.
Yeah.
And down 5 at their own 20. Corrections has got to find a way to put some yards into this drive.
They're in an interesting spot time-wise because their strength is utilizing their running game but also taking shots downfield. They're a very well-balanced, oiled machine as far as offense goes.
Does Corrections have one big play left in them?
Well, Conklin has twinged to each side, and Clark lined up to his right. Conklin has some time. He goes deep. It's caught!
Oh!
It is caught by Minot.
That looked
now
like
it's
a reception.
incomplete.
No, but it looked like a reception and a fumble.
And Minot is down on his back, and that's not good.
Yeah, Minot doesn't.
These calls are coming in very late. And
that's
that
all the
catch
way
looked
across
good.
the
I don't know
field.
about you. That catch looked good.
Not only does it look good, he retained possession of it as he came down to the ground, and I thought the ground caused the fumble because it appeared to be a reception, but they're not calling it that way. Incomplete.
So it's going to be...
Oh, they have a better shot of it here.
It's going to be 3rd and long. Yeah, we're looking at the iPad here in front of us, folks.
Excellent camera work by the boys tonight, Anthony and Mike.
A quick shout out to George Zayas as well, our producer, who makes all of this happen. Just want a quick shout out both team presidents, Chris Chamberlain and Troy Roberts.
Yeah, as
all
we
the work that they
continue the countdown, George Zayas, producer extraordinaire, streaming on a bunch of different platforms tonight. George is the man.
Like to call him the brain of the operations here.
Terrific human being as well.
Conklin throws nearly intercepted by Vozos. I don't know where that throw was going. And that was 3rd down, by the way. All right. Folks, any questions for us in the live stream? We'll get back to you.
Yes, both sides are taking their time getting back to the huddle. As one of the coaches was out on the field for corrections.
It's crazy. Both backup quarterbacks came out to ball here today, and it has showed. Around 4 minutes to go in regulation is what I'm hearing. And now we're hearing it from both streams. NYPD down 46-0. But Conklin is almost sacked.
How
gets
he
out
stayed
of it
upright, I don't know.
and throws it. It is caught.
That is just a beautiful play by John Conklin. His ability to scramble, find the open man.
Yeah.
And convert that into a 1st down to keep this drive alive with under 4 minutes to go here in the game.
We have an injury. We have an injury on the field, and it looks like another lineman is down for corrections, which is the last thing you want to see. They already lost both centers. They lost their starter and their backup. They first lost Diaz, and now they lost Brophy, and I don't believe Brophy's returned. So this would be the third lost lineman due to injury. But, yes, Vozos is number 43. Fun fact, John Rosati wears some serious reading glasses. Okay.
Tom, we talked about at the start of the second half how fatigue could enter into the conversation, being that it's Corrections' first game of the season. And by the looks of things,
that is going to be number 76.
74, I believe that is.
74. That would be Renee Green. He is the starting guard. Well, yeah, he was supposed to play left guard, but they moved him out to left tackle. So that is the third offensive lineman they've lost to injury today. And now, remember, folks, McCormack did not play today. He did not suit up, so they were without him as well. So now Corrections down 4 linemen, and that was Brophy, John. Pardon me. Green is still out there at left tackle.
I got you.
So that's 3.
And with the temps dipping down into the 40s tonight,
oh yeah,
it's got to be, it's got to be tough.
Twinge to each side for Conklin. Pope has him, and he's going to get wrapped up by Pope. And Venier in there as well. Venier came up with a football, but that's going to stay with Corrections.
Excellent coverage by FDNY secondary on that play, including
Pope's got 2 sacks, John.
John Ring. Excellent coverage. Pope's got 2 sacks. Wow.
So Corrections uses their second timeout of the half.
And it's a big play coming up.
Yeah, with, I believe,
3rd down.
No, it looks like second from here.
Is it second? Oh, yeah, you're right. There's the marker stick.
Folks, appreciate you all tuning into the live stream tonight here on Facebook on both pages of the FDNY and the Corrections Department as well. We are keeping up with both pages, trying to get to your comments if you have any as we follow the game here, looking to provide this entertainment here between the FDNY, New York's Bravest, and the NYCD, New York's Boldest. Folks, as we kind of have a stoppage of play here, we're just going to step aside for a quick moment. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Folks, welcome back to Aviator Field here in Brooklyn, New York. Tom Scavetta with John Heffernan. And
another timeout.
Another timeout. This one taken by the fire department, it looks like.
I guess they didn't like what the matchup they saw. Interesting timing for this timeout.
Yeah.
Back-to-back timeouts.
It might be a little situational thing they want to get squared away. Steve Orr in there with Rosati. Cameron Peak.
Steve Orr told me in our coaches call this week, Johnny, I'll never ask one of my players to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
Yep.
And he may be a barker, but I like that. I like that sentiment right there.
I'm getting an update saying that the Knolls beat the NYPD over in Kings Bay 46-0 final.
Wow, that's shocking.
That's what we are hearing, yep. So appreciate those updates in the comments section.
Next week's matchup for Corrections. Or May
a few weeks from now,
yep.
Their next game. So to reset the stage, 19-14, FDNY leads over Corrections. Conklin in a shotgun set with trips to his right. 2 receivers to his left. Conklin takes the snap, throws. One hops Steve Murphy. Prokop broke it up.
Yeah, Mike Prokop, good coverage.
Yeah, they're really good in coverage.
He was just draped all over him.
We even saw their backups. Tom Clark came in last week, made a few nice plays. Yeah. He was good for them.
I like how they're reading the offense. I'm talking about the FDNY secondary.
Yeah.
They seem to collapse on a lot of these receivers. Good reads by the secondary for FDNY as we got a big third down now for corrections.
Just want to update quick. Frank Zerbo has checked in the game, the rookie for FDNY. Made a nice play last week in the game late in a crucial moment. So it's going to be third down for corrections. They need to get to at least the 35. Conklin scrambling, looking, fires, throws, intercepted! What a play by the fire department, and let's see who came up with that interception.
Was it Phipps?
Well, whoever they're mauling there on the sideline, it looks like Vozos. Frank Vozos with the interception.
The coverage on that play was incredible by the secondary. They had everybody locked down. And having to force that pass was Conklin, and Vozos with a huge interception and yet another turnover by the corrections department. I think that's what, their sixth of the game?
I believe it's their fifth. That's at least their fifth. There's also an injury on the field, though. So
5 turnovers by the corrections department.
Let's see who they're helping up.
On really what?
Casmil Minot, the captain, needs to be helped off the field.
And they can eat up a lot of clock here, Tom, as the player looks to be all right.
Hearing there's about a minute and a half to 2 minutes left in the game.
They just chew up the clock here. I mean, I don't think he can take a knee just yet, but has to hand the ball off a couple of times, and it should seal the deal for FDNY as they're looking to improve to 2-0 and remain
Vozos
unbeaten
with the Halligan. As FDNY just going to sit on the football here. Vomero back at his own 45 just in case.
They put a big necklace around Vozos. I like that. They did that last week, too. We'll got to find out what that's all about.
Goalie takes a knee.
All right, so I was wrong about the knee.
McGovern coming out onto the field, and corrections will take a timeout. I believe that's their last.
Wow. Tom, what's impressed you most today about this FDNY team? I mean, other than resiliency, coming back, they were down. They showed the ability to come back. They've showed the ability for the big play. They've showed the ability to have guys step up with injuries.
Yeah.
Overall, maybe not the cleanest game tonight. Penalty filled, lots of turnovers, but definitely some good things to draw.
The biggest thing for me is they took advantage of mismatches on offense. They were able to find corrections' weakness, exploit it, hence Rosati's key to the game.
Exactly.
And that's probably why they came victorious. And it's not just the turnovers, because quite frankly, as many turnovers as they've forced, they also gave up 2 60-plus yard touchdowns. So the defense did not have their best game despite causing all those turnovers. The offense and Chris Rigoli came in and did a real nice job.
I'm going to head down to the field in a couple minutes here to talk to one of our key players of the game. Whoever is going to be available, we'll sort that out. Lots to go over here, Tom, as FDNY will put this one away and stay undefeated as they will improve to 2-0.
That's right. FDNY will improve to 2-0 on the season. Corrections will fall to 0-1. FDNY, their next game will be at Chicago PD on May 1st. And then a couple other games on their schedule include May 15th against the Tri-State Shields and June 5th against NYPD Finest. Another knee taken there by Rigoli. This will bring up 4th down. As they're discussing how many timeouts FDNY has. But, you know, this is the first game of the season for corrections. Nothing to be ashamed of. They played a very competitive game. Got to give credit to both coaches, Coach McGovern as well, bringing these guys in. Had a couple games canceled.
Look, it was a hotly contested game. It was close right down here to the final couple of minutes.
FDNY takes a timeout. Thank you for the comments, and thanks, Gina. Appreciate that. Scylla Ruiz, Martin Murray, Roseanne Silazitsky. Thank you all so much for watching. We still have a couple more seconds to tick off here, and then we're gonna have a post-game interview. John Heffernan will head down to the field.
So we've got May 1st against Chicago. In Chicago will be the next matchup for FDNY Bravest football.
And then
the Windy City.
The other games going on today in the league, the Cleveland Warriors taking on the CPD Enforcers, and the 2-0 Orlando Guardians at the Dallas Defenders. And it's crazy. NYPD will not open up league play until May 5th against Corrections. So that should be May 8th, pardon me, against Corrections. So that should be very interesting to see how that unfolds. Yep. So FDNY
May 15th.
No, I'm talking about
Corrections.
No, NYPD does not play their first game until May 8th against Corrections.
And, of course, the season culminating.
Yep.
On June 5th when PD plays FD. A much anticipated game.
Yeah, Corrections will play NYPD, then they'll play the Roanoke Rampage in D.C. on May 15th. They'll have the Tri-State Shields on May 28th and the D.C. Generals on June 5th. Rigoli takes the snap here on this fourth down play, just throws one up, incomplete, as FDNY sideline asking if the game's over. It is not over yet. Actually, let's see. Nope. So, folks, the game is not over yet, as the FDNY defense will retake the field. Rigoli there, that's the type of play you like to do when you're trying to run off clock on a fourth down play late in the game when you're ahead by one possession. Don't want a guy like Cameron Palmer, who has exposed his speed to return a potential punt down the other end for a potential game-winning score. You don't want that to happen.
Why they were taking a knee so early.
Trying to play a little conservatively and get some time off the clock. Shout out to all the Corrections fans watching as well. Chris Robert, David Romines, Danica Costas, Adrian Gilliard, Amanda Robinson, Anthony Tyler. Donna Gioa, appreciate it. Low snap, Conklin fires deep down the field, and it is incomplete. Malera almost had it. And there is a little scuffle towards the quarterback as Conklin is down. Denzel Wilson in the middle of that. As it looks like that will do it, folks. That was the final play of the game. So, the FDNY wins against the Corrections Department by a final score of 19-14. That's New York's Bravest over New York's Boldest. Tom Scavetta calling all the action tonight with John Heffernan. Really appreciate you all tuning in. And, folks, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere just yet, because we will have a post-game interview with John Heffernan. He'll be going out to get one of the players, and we will cue him in just a few moments after the teams line up to shake hands. So, just to reset the stage on how this game went. So, the FDNY had their first score of the game. Chris Rigoli ran in for a 4-yard touchdown rush. Kadeem Jonas had a touchdown run as well. They were up 13-0. And then Cameron Palmer had a huge 61-yard touchdown catch. So FDNY led 13-6 at halftime. However, Corrections did pull ahead at one point. Another big pass as John Conklin came into the game in relief of Demir Djukanovic for around a 70-yard touchdown pass to Cameron Palmer again. Palmer had 2 touchdowns in this game. In my honest opinion, despite the loss for Corrections, Palmer was probably the player of this game. It was very interesting to see how how that one unfolded. But FDNY came together as a team, as a cohesive unit, and they were able to pull things off as Joe Herman scored a touchdown late in the game on a pass from Chris Rigoli. Joe Herman, a big receiver, around 6'2", definitely a good player for the fire department. Great to see him in there. And, you know, Matt Rosati, Brian Vomero, each with several catches today. Both of them had at least 6 catches, but it was a very interesting game, folks. If you have any comments in the stream, final questions you want me to address before we get our little post-game segment. See 2-0 FDNY. Got a couple nice win comments. Yep. As John Rosati, Ryan McGovern, great job to both coaches, both teams. Again, Tom Scavetta here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn, New York. Frank Vozos had that eventual game-winning interception that kind of took the fire out of Corrections late. Corrections had 5-6 turnovers in this game. They had 5 turnovers in this game, and actually now we're going to have John Heffernan interviewing the man who had the final interception of the game for FDNY, Frank Vozos. Also had a fumble recovery as well, so he was the cause for 2 of the turnovers at this time. John, we're going to throw it down to you.
Much big win for the FDNY here tonight. Aviator Field, Brooklyn, New York. With me, safety Frank Vozos. Huge interception by you in the fourth quarter. Lots of turnovers tonight. Big play by the secondary. Describe what that felt like tonight, getting that big interception.
It felt great. I mean, honestly, the coaches made a great adjustment. They started putting us on man-to-man coverage towards the fourth quarter because they noticed we were, they were making adjustments to what we were doing. Honestly, the coaches put us in the right spot. That's all it was,
Could you tell us a little bit about that necklace you draped around your neck there? Is that a team tradition?
It's a team tradition. It's the turnover chain.
What do we call it?
The turnover chain. That's it.
All right, Heedles goes down early. It seems to me that guys are willing to be unselfish and step up when they have to. Rigoli comes in, doesn't miss a beat. How important was it for your offense to get into a rhythm tonight? I know you're on the defensive side of things, but it must have been nice to watch.
The offense did a great job. They grinded every series out, putting up the big points. When we gave up the lead, they marched right down the field, put us back up, put us in a position to win the game. Total team effort tonight, not one person other than the other,
There you go, 2-0 undefeated. You got Chicago in a couple of weeks. What do you need to keep doing here to keep this great start to the season going?
Just keep practicing. We're practicing hard every week, twice a week, doing a good thing, the scheming. The amount of time these coaches put in on the side after, they're getting us film, they're putting us in great position. Honestly, it's just everybody, the game plan and everything, it's all we got to keep doing,
Frank Vozos, big interception tonight, big win for the FDNY here at Aviator Field in Brooklyn. Good luck in a couple weeks at Chicago. We'll see you soon. So that's going to do it here from Aviator Field. We're going to head it back uptown to Tom Scavetta, our play-by-play guy. I'm John Heffernan. I hope to get back up to the box to say goodnight, but if I don't, have a good one. Tommy, take it away.
Thanks, John. Appreciate that. So back up here in the booth, yes, Frank Vozos did account for 2 of the 5 turnovers caused by FDNY. He had the fumble recovery on the forced fumble by Kevin Brockmeyer early on and the eventual interception that eventually wrapped things up. Also big interceptions in the secondary by John Moody and Christian Malera as well. Travis Pope had 2 sacks defensively. So I'm going to get John Heffernan's final thoughts on this game, as Frank Vozos is our player of the game tonight, and then we will wrap things up in just a moment. So, John, any final thoughts on the game here tonight before we sign off?
Well, it was a close game, and I didn't really know what to expect tonight, Tom. So I think the one good thing, if I'm going to be a bit of an FDNY homer tonight, it was good to see the offense click, get into more of a rhythm. Some outstanding play by the secondary. We had a chance to talk to Frank Vozos. And then, of course, the play by Rigoli stepping in after Heedles went down. Excuse me, I'm a little bit out of breath. Time to get back to the gym. But, Tom, all in all, a resilient group. Like we said, a bit of a sloppy game, kind of messy. Lots of penalties, lots of turnovers, but certainly a lot of positives to take out of this game tonight for the FDNY.
I agree. A lot of good plays defensively and offensively for them. And for Corrections, they were hanging in there tough, but they were unable to get it done. Too many turnovers early on. Both teams quarterback changes, but FDNY made more plays and they won the football game. Any final thoughts?
No, I just excited for this season as we're reaching the halfway point with the game against Chicago in a couple of weeks. And do we have confirmation on our next broadcast, Tom, where we can tease our viewers to be sure to join us again? Do we know?
We will find out.
We're going to find out. We'll post it. We'll post it on Facebook, on the website, and I hope to be back soon.
Thanks a lot, John. New York's Bravest is back in action Saturday, May 1st, as they visit the Chicago PD Enforcers. New York's Boldest will return to the gridiron Saturday, May 8th, against the NYPD. We'd like to thank everybody and all our viewers for tuning in to our Facebook live stream tonight, and everyone for tuning in to our coverage.
We appreciate the comments, too.
Exactly. Tonight's broadcast was a production of Vizhand Media. Our executive producer was George Zayas. Our technical operators were Mike Lombardi and Anthony Cavaretta. For John Heffernan, I'm Tom Scavetta, saying so long from Brooklyn, New York. The final score, the FDNY 19, Corrections 14. You've been watching New York's Bravest and New York's Boldest Football here on Facebook Live. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.